The college football experience, week 4, 2023 preview and draft episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network's brought to you by Shady Rays. Shady Rays is having their best deal of the year. Go to shadyrays.com. Use the promo code SGPN for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. We're also brought to you by SGPN's NFL Draft Week. Yes, all week long, SGPN has you covered with draft props, mock drafts, and our live NFL Draft Watch Party, which old Pick Dundee is going to be a part of. So make sure you smash that subscribe button at youtube.com/sports gambling podcast. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Brock Purdy from Iowa State, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes. Welcome to the college football experience 2023 week 4 preview edition. Oh, yes. Oh man, I can taste the season. If you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to, well, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dad, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
It was a shock. I thought, it's a mistake. You know, I'm like Popeye or Buffhead in the cartoons. Those kind of people don't get sick. I've never been sick in my life.
Never been sick in my life, with the exception of when they dropped the news that they're ditching the triple option and these cut block bullshit. But we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. Shout out to WVU Punch Drunk. He's in the chat saying, I got fired up just seeing the Colorado spring game in the snow, seats filled. That's how it should be, baby. Football weather. We're going to talk all about it. Such a good time to be alive. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh! Up.
First down. All right. We are also, shout out to D Bettis in the chat, who says it's time to talk about the Ohio State.
Hell yeah.
Go.
He usually joins us about an hour and a half in.
Yeah. And he's like, why aren't you talking Ohio State? It's like, we just did a huge segment for about 30 minutes in the beginning about Ohio State. But right now we're talking about McNeese. No, I'm joking. Shout out to D Bettis. And we are joined by third man in the booth, the DFS god himself. Give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, Tobacco Road living, the free lock giving, former Herndon Basketball League MVP. Get my friend C Nick in the place to be.
There we go. What's going on, guys?
Always forget that I have the Bosworth theme on here, man. It's a fucking gem.
I haven't heard that one in a while.
Criminally underused.
Yeah, I apologize to the audience. I apologize to my parents for not using that song more.
Disappointment to the family.
Yeah. How you guys doing? I mean, look, we had a lot of spring games fire away. We got the week 4 draft coming, but I got to touch base on some news. First and foremost, the NCAA rules have been adjusted, and I think the one person that I honestly believe, I've probably met hundreds, if not thousands, of college football fans, and I know one person that is pro this rule. Everyone else is against this rule. The NCAA is basically they're going to the running clock, hoping to shave 7 plays off of a game each and every game. I also find it ironic, and I know Triple Option Report, give them a follow on social media, or on Twitter, I should say, the Twitters. I find it ironic that they happened to drop this the same year that they got rid of the cut blocks. So, what do you guys think? Running clocks with the exception of the final 2 minutes in the first half in the game. I know NC Nick is the one proponent of this, or the only proponent of this, or
of what? What is he a proponent of the last
shorter
2 minutes?
games? Tight 3-hour windows. I don't want to be staying up till 1 a.m. Look,
I want the exact opposite.
I just listened to the SGP, the main show, have John Smoltz on. If you haven't listened to that interview, go check it out. He said he loves the new baseball rules, which is speeding up the game. Dude, we're busy people. I want a game to last 3 hours. Tight 3-hour window. If it goes on at 8 o'clock prime time, I want it to be done by 11. I don't want that thing lasting 4 hours. Come on now.
To be fair, though, John Smoltz is an employee of MLB. So, of course, he's going to say that. It's like when we had Theismann on to talk about the Redskins. It's like he's still their play-by-play guy. I love the Commanders. You got to get in tune to it. It's something great here.
Slight conflict of interest.
Meanwhile, John Riggins, who's not employed by them at all, is like, they're a bunch of pieces of shit. All right? And it's absolutely fantastic. So what do you expect him to say? See, the reality is we want more football, not less.
Let me push back on you, Cole, a little bit here. And it's because I'm surprised. You are a strong opponent of advancing the ball to midcourt on a timeout in basketball.
It's terrible.
Right. So why are you inclined to allow college football teams to have a stop clock on a first down when they haven't earned a stop clock?
No, but that's not all of the rule, right? I'm okay with the first down side of it, but they're talking about running the clock even on incompletion.
I thought they had been doing that.
No, they had not.
I'm all for more football, but more football means more games, not a longer of a single game.
No. Disagree.
Don't you want to get a chance to bet on the next game rather than having a game last over 4 hours?
I don't have I'm not working off cable TV anymore. All right. We can watch everything at the same time. All right.
But
this is 2023.
Really focus on one or two.
No, I can focus on 9. All right. And I do it every Saturday.
The database is pulling data.
I do it every fucking Saturday. All right. And I'm working with 9.
It's easier than you think.
Yeah.
It's easier because commercials, it's like you're really only focused on 2 or 3 at a time.
Look, I've been to a sports bar once or twice in my life.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
No, but their setup's not good enough. Because you have to look around like this.
Yeah, you got to have your head on a swivel.
With God's eye, it is jam packed all right there.
That helps.
I feel like I'm Madden here. I feel like I'm Chris Farley. Back to Chicago. All right.
Let me say this.
Yeah.
Regardless of this reason or that reason, I think they nailed it. I think they nailed it because, like Nick said, I mean, I understand your argument that you want more football and probably stopping the clock on first downs, or I guess on incomplete, and certainly
getting rid of the back-to-back timeouts. I kind of like the drama of the coach fucking that up.
Maybe a little bit. That one is still up in there. I don't have.
It happens so rare though. You're not.
But it's so classic when it does happen. True. How many times have you seen it when the coach calls the timeout as the ball snapped and his kicker drills like a 50-yarder, and then.
So you're talking about, no, I agree, but hold on. The quantity of football that we have on Saturdays, every week we've been doing this draft here where we draft 30 games, and there's so many games we leave out, and we say, you know what, I wish I had the time to watch this, but it's not going to find airtime. We don't have a problem with the amount of football on college football Saturday. Okay, there's enough.
Whoa.
It's a great point.
No, I'm lobbying.
Join
you guys,
the movement, Patty C.
I listened to you guys last week.
In, Nick.
I went back and listened to myself because that's what I like to do. But your guys' take of like the Illinois game on Saturday, I still disagree with you guys so much, even more after I thought about it, where I think there should be weekday games all throughout the week. I'm talking like 8 games every day, right? and they're dropping the ball on this. This is 2023. Get the sport on the television and have that. And you should want to have more football because more people would be watching instead of fucking whatever is after this.
I'll say this. Yeah. I think most, myself included, people are adjusting to spring football. And before it was like, I don't want to see that much football. I need my off season. Now it's like,
I never had that problem.
Well, to me, it was just
never
not,
once had that problem.
not dialed into my system. I was like, all right, I'm ready to flip the switch and I'm in basketball mode now. And that's what I
Really?
had gotten used to for 20, 30 years. And to divert my attention, now it helps that I stopped paying as much attention to the NBA. And I could fill that gap with football now. But still, I just think that it takes a little while for you to get used to it. So I think if they did move games to the weekdays, right now we say, everything should be on Saturday. Eventually, we might be like, no, I want it
Look,
every day.
Here's the thing. And I've said this forever. We have 260 some
I mean,
teams
it's great for basketball.
in FCS and FBS. That should be enough where you still have Saturday as your main slate, but you can do 5-6 games a week or 5 to 6 games a day for every day of the week except Sunday, right? So Monday, 5 games, right? Tuesday, 5 games. And I would even say you could do like 8 or 9 Thursdays and Fridays. You should do it. And you got to call 1-800-PICK-DUNDEE. All right.
I'm
look,
only on board if those one of those 8 or 9 games or multiple ones are during the day. Because I love daytime television where I can sit in my home office and watch something,
but
bet on something while I'm working.
that'll be on at the same time. That'll be on the same time as your soaps.
Well,
Decisions.
I gotta fit my stories in at some point also. But
Needs God's eye for
Deep Bettis has it right. I think the smaller conferences and especially the FCS, they should take advantage more of the weekday games.
Completely disagree.
Not saying the major conferences can't do it also, but going back to last week, I'm with Patty C there. Something about that like Big Ten noon game is it just feels right.
Not when there's 30 of them. All right. And now the Big Ten's going to have 16 teams. You know what I mean? So I don't need a bunch on that same time.
Maybe the biggest game in the Big Ten slate Saturday morning at noon and then spread the rest out.
I'll give you an example in a second. All right. Look, I want to tell you folks that the college football experience is brought to you by Shady Rays. Yes. Look, our friends at Shady Rays have you covered from the sun to the slopes with premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and much, much more. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair you've ever worn. They got the durable frames. They got the extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. All right. And that's not all. Shady Rays offers the absolutely most insane eye protection in all of eyewear. All right. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. So let's say you are out at the game. All right. Say you went to a spring game this past weekend. You're checking out Deion Sanders and some idiot says he does like the new rules of the NCAA. Well, then you turn around and you punch him right in the face. But what you didn't realize is that his friend was right next to him and he punches you right in the face and you're wearing your polarized shades. All right. Boom. Your glass is broken. Guess what you do right then? You go right back to Shady Rays and say, guess what? My glasses are broke. They're not even going to ask why. They're not even going to say, well, who started this thing? What's going on? They're not the feds over here, right?
They're going to know if Colby Dance involved, but
yeah. They're just going to go, boom, here's your next pair. And play on. Doesn't matter how long the game's going on. All right, play on, baby. With Shady Rays, you can not only look good, you can feel good too. Today, they've donated over 20 million meals to fight hunger with Feeding America. Absolutely fantastic. And right now, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out the best deal of the year. Go to shadyrays.com. Use that promo code SGPN for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Yes.
Dude, right. I just took advantage of that. Let me tell you, I got 2 pairs for a very reasonable price for like a quality pair of sunglasses. Like usually I buy like the shit pair at like, at BJ's or something, but I spent up a little bit more, but it was still very affordable. They're nice looking sunglasses, man.
I'm wearing them right now, buddy. Look at me over here.
Swagging.
Fucking Ray Charles over here. Yeah, let's go.
All right, we're ready to draft some teams. All right, should we talk about the mass exodus happening in Boulder?
Yeah, hold on. Well, that was somewhat expected because they were like 20 over the scholarship limit. But a perfect example to me, and I actually, I thought I drew this shit up somewhere, but would be the fact that to me, like they should focus on one game a week. So take last week's week, for example, or we could talk about this week's. Like this week's, we have at least a Thursday and Friday games, right? But in my opinion, like you should take, you should get 2 games on each side of this thing. So like Virginia Tech, Marshall, boom, put that as one. Georgia Tech, Wake Forest. No one's going to watch Georgia Tech, Wake Forest on Saturday. I hate to tell you this.
True story.
All right. There's a reason why Jefferson Pilot Sports doesn't exist. All right. and Kentucky Vanderbilt. Put that shit on a Thursday. All right. And make that your prime time. If you were to do that every day of the week, except Sunday, obviously you still have the majority of your games Saturday, but if you were to do, and you can align it with an FCS, meaning like Monday night, you go with, Wyoming, Texas Tech at Wyoming and Laramie. That's your night game. You're for the West Coast people. The day game could be like South Alabama, K-State or something. And then, you line that up at the same time, or maybe 30 minutes behind with an FCS game. Like say, Samford and Furman, play that shit on a Monday. Then the nightcap, Northern Arizona and Sac State, right? Something like that. It's just an unorganized sport, and it's been that. And that's been one of the flaws for not gaining more fans. If they were to do that, Nick at night isn't one day a week. So why should Pac-12 After Dark be one day a week? Goddamn right, buddy. Goddamn right. It should be a regular 7-day-a-week program. Now, okay, let's talk. I don't want to dive too much into that because I could talk about that for 5 hours. But speaking of Big Ten moving to weekday games, well, they listened to me. They didn't listen to you guys because Central Michigan State moves to Friday, September 1st. I'm very happy that happens. Don't talk week one though. Week one's different. I got you for week two. I got you for week two. Right. September 9th, Indiana State heads to Indiana. The Battle of Indiana, the Sycamores and the Hoosiers. And then October 7th, Nebraska at Illinois moves to a Friday night. Thank you. Do more of that. You can have your big noon kickoff and shove it up all your ass right there. The Big Ten took advantage of that in basketball too. Yeah. Usually college basketball, on Friday night there's nothing, and they started playing like a big game Friday night. It makes sense. It's there. You have a wide open TV window, and Fox is going to take advantage of that. Especially like you can no longer say whether they're students because they're about to become paid employees. Play that shit 6 days a week, prime time, 6 days a week. Boom. Minimum 5 games a night. Minimum. The college experience has to be all year round, 365 days a year. Year round. D. Bettis says, I'm a Big Ten specialist. Those new West Coast teams get 10 p.m. games every Friday or Saturday. Nothing beats Penn State or Ohio State primetime games. Yeah, you can still keep the biggest. Look, if TV execs are in charge, they're probably going to keep the Ohio State, Penn State games at like primetime. I'm talking about Northwestern Illinois. Can be a Thursday night 4:00 game on the West, 7:00 on the East. Prime time, we're all watching it. More eyes would happen on that than on Saturday. So, true. Well, what was the game we were talking about last week? Illinois and who? It was Penn State, Illinois, right? Yeah. See, that's a good game. No, it's at Illinois, which is like that's even more of a reason to put it on a weekday. If it was a whiteout, then you maybe could do it on. It's not a dome. Yeah, but still, I'm just saying, like the Illinois, I feel like Illinois, out of all the Big Ten schools, I feel like plays some of the more weekday spots. Everyone knows our stance on this. We don't have to beat this dead horse any further. Well, let's beat this dead horse because the SEC is reportedly considering steep penalties because apparently they had told people like there's a fine. Told other SEC schools for fans storming the field, and they still did. They had no problem paying the fine. So now they're talking about the loss of future home games if fans storm the field. Why? Hey, Greg Stinky, fuck you. That is college football. What's the problem? That is college football. You got to keep the little guys down. They're the only ones that are going to be storming the field. So you disincentivize a big moment for them. The power players. You're going to get rid of your. How about you store? How about if all 14 SEC schools or 16, whatever year we're talking, they should all storm the field. What are you going to do? Where are you going to play your fucking games? Madison Square Garden? Huh, Sankey? They might have to go on the road in the non-conference site at that point, which you absolutely don't want to do. Oh man, I mean, is that ridiculous? What's going on in this country? What's going on? Each week, I feel like I'm getting outraged. I'm like, that's your selling point. That's why I want to watch college football. Tennessee storming the field after beating Alabama last year. Taking the goalpost to the Tennessee River of the whole year. One of the greatest things about college football. Let the 19-year-olds get hammered and run on the field. Come on. Have we lost our fucking mind? I don't understand how each week I'm arguing that these things that have been the main attraction of the whole sport. Don't get me started. I see a blood vessel on the side of Colby's head that's beginning to pulsate. Hold on. This makes me think of this. And shout out to Henry. A fan that sent me this message, by the way. Colby, dude, I love the shows. You may seem like a man yelling at clouds to the TMZ casual fans, but you're dead on regarding your takes on college football and where things are headed, and it represents a bigger problem in society in general. Suits are making the game so corporate and hollow now. It has no feel. Everything cool and unique in society, from the triple option to good pizza places, are being torn down and being replaced with arena football rules and Amazon warehouses. It reminds me of the last season of The Sopranos, and it is enough to make a fucking man go crazy. All right.
I like this guy. I like this guy.
Keep fighting the good fight against domes, CTE disinformation, artificial rivalries created by TV execs, and the pussification of football. People don't care enough to notice and are going to look around one day and wonder what happened to the game we all loved. Right. Good luck with everything. And I love listening to the show. Man. Hey, fucking man, he gets it.
That's a fucking American.
He gets it. I need to copy and paste that and put that as our bio. All right, he gets it, baby.
He phrased it better than you ever could.
I can't phrase anything good, but yeah, shout out to him. He gets it.
Colby's a cunning linguist, not a cunning linguist. Come on,
amen. Look, okay, let's talk about a couple more things. DJU, did you see his statements regarding Clemson?
I did.
Yeah, he said, I didn't want to do what I was doing at Clemson. I didn't really like any scheme that they did scheme-wise, and what we were doing was super basic, and it didn't help me out as a quarterback. I had to go somewhere that would play into my strengths, right? But he called out. There was a big article that on CBS Sports, but he called out a bunch of and look, they fired Brandon Streeter, so in a way he's kind of right.
Yeah, was it specifically Streeter, or did my boy at UVA,
Tony Elliott, or he might have been there for a Jeff Scott year too? I'm not sure. No, I don't think so. If so, 1 year. But no, I mean he didn't really name what people, but he just said Clemson. So that's
well, they've been pretty mediocre and I guess vanilla offensively for a couple of years now. So,
but they did have the top 2 picks in the draft like 5 years before.
At the same time, I mean, like, he doesn't sound like he's taking any responsibility for his own poor play.
True.
Hey, maybe I'm just take the high road, don't burn any bridges type guy. But did he really have to come down on them? Like look, especially like, let's see how you do in Corvallis first.
True.
So I don't know.
That gets me to my next question. Who's going to get more wins this season, you think? Oregon State or Clemson?
That would take a schedule dive.
Well, I think last year, how many games did Clemson win last year? 10 or 11?
It was double digits.
Because Oregon State won 11, right? And they won the bowl game, right? Or 10.
I mean, that'd be an interesting bet. I'm sure you can't find it anywhere, but it'd be an interesting bet because people would just assume Clemson right off the bat, and it probably will be Clemson, but it might be closer than you think.
Clemson was 11-3 with a loss in the bowl game, so 11-2 in the regular season conference championship game. Yeah, pretty damn good season. What was Oregon State?
They were 10 or 11. I don't know if they won. So who did they lose to? They lost to Utah and USC. I think they beat everybody else, right? No, Washington. Oh, they got robbed in that Washington game too.
What did they?
So they probably went 10-3 or 11-3.
10-3.
Yeah.
They won the bowl game.
They stomped Florida 30-3 in the bowl game.
Nice Beaver.
Beat Oregon on the last game of the year. They're a good team. That's a good question. 11-3, 10-3.
Well, especially now that they get a quarterback. They did that without a quarterback last year.
What kind of odds would it take you to bet Oregon State? Like plus 150?
Well, I think the Pac-12 is a lot harder than the ACC this year.
Well, you got to take all that into consideration. Plus 200.
But they're getting rid of the Coastal and the Atlantic. I don't know if that's easier. Is that easier for Clemson?
I think it's all a shit show.
It's definitely easier for the. Well, yeah, I think so. Probably it's harder for the teams in the Coastal.
True, but I also think it's kind of whatever teams you draw.
I think they get Florida State as a protected rival either way, so that's the only game that this year would be considered hard. So it really doesn't make a difference. Is it Louisville or is it Virginia that you're playing? Who gives a fuck?
You're probably
all right. So the Colorado Buffaloes had their spring game in the snow. It was fucking awesome. They packed the place. 46 or 47,000 people showed up, but 15 players have hit the portal. They also had a 4-star decommit. Everyone's hitting the panic button. Look, they lost one of their. They had a receiver have 158 yards in the spring game and 2 touchdowns. He also had the game-winning touchdown against Cal last year. And I'm talking about Montana. Lamonius Craig, right? He hit the portal. People are overreacting, but
did you just rattle off his spring game stats?
Yeah.
Or what?
158 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I was like, I'm out of here.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
But you got to remember, Jimmy Horn was not playing. So
Yeah.
their big time gets a couple of their big
Doesn't
time portal.
matter.
What do you mean?
Like, I mean, if that's your spring game output and there's one other dude that's stepping in, what do you?
No, not one. There's like 5. They're just
Five
not
other
there
wide
yet.
routes?
They're
On the
not
flip
there
side,
yet.
it's like, strike while the iron's hot. You just put that
Yeah.
tape out
Yeah.
there, and I'm sure he's going to get
Well,
lots of attention.
And I
now,
saw
so.
Dion even tweet that he's a great kid to go, and someone should take him. But I actually think that was coming. I think
Yeah.
Colorado, I knew they were like 15 or 20 over the scholarship limit.
Yeah.
So I was like, they're going to be getting now. Maybe they wanted to keep him because he just had 158 yards and 2 touchdowns,
Sure.
but everyone else, not surprised at all. So
Can we be
Yeah.
honest about this? If this was a coach that we didn't like as much, we would be roasting them for destroying college football with the transfer portal. If this
No.
was Nick Saban,
no,
I don't
made
think
this
so.
point. I made this point on a solo episode like a week ago. Colorado is the exact example of what happened last year to them. Last year,
they got rated.
they got rated, and everyone look. You see, Christian Gonzalez is a projected top 10 pick at corner. He transferred to Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Mekhi Blackman, starting corner for USC and arguably their best defensive player a year ago. Jarek Broussard started some games at running back for Michigan State. One of our offensive linemen started at
They got hammered.
Duke's 9-win team. One of our Jerry Rice's son started at USC. He had like 250 yards in the Cotton Bowl, right? Our other wide receiver, Walter Stanley's son, former Tecmo Bowl player, he started at Iowa State.
Got to put that nugget in
We had
there.
another offensive lineman at Arkansas, right? My point is Colorado learned. If people are mad at Colorado, then I say fuck you. They could not accept transfers a year ago.
Yeah.
Right. And every team, USC, every big time team came in there and just stole all their players.
Yeah.
So
If they sit there and take it, and you're
Yeah.
okay with it, and when it's time for them to give it, and you got a problem with it, then you're
Mark Perry, starting safety for TCU, plays in the national championship game. All right. Probably didn't play good in the national
I think the
championship.
term is don't hate the player, hate the game.
There you go.
If I could talk Mighty White to me over here. Okay. You don't hate Colorado. Dude, that's college football nowadays.
It is college football, and I think Primetime has somehow managed to straddle the line of like essentially used car salesman, but still be likable. He I don't know what it is. I think
I know what it is. He was at Jackson State and took over a 1-11 Colorado team. Because I don't know if he just would have went like straight into Florida State or something. I think it'd be much more
But
hateable.
beyond that, there's a little human touch there that mixed with his being a complete like loudmouth, which he still is. There's heart. I don't know. I don't want to sit here and get cheesy, but Primetime, part of me likes him. Part of me thinks his whole shtick is acceptable just because behind it all, there's some heart.
Amen. Let's go. How about my East Carolina Pirates, by the way? We got a $5 million NIL donation. Oh, that surprisingly, it didn't come from me. You know what I mean? Just I'm working on it. All right. All right. Let's get into this. Let's get into this draft stuff. But before we do, I want to tell you folks out there that the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, the NBA and NHL playoffs are here. And what better way to get down on some player prop parlays than over at Underdog Fantasy? Besides the daily NHL, MLB and NBA games, they've already got NFL best ball drafts with a guaranteed $500,000 in prizes up for grabs. They got USFL, they got XFL. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. All right. And Patty C, you are on the clock. We are week 4. Folks, remember that we have week 0, week 1, week 2, and week 3 all out there. Go listen to them as we draft the top 30 games that we want to see for each and every week of the college football season. Patty C, where you going for old number 1?
Well, look, I just want to point out that Colby is doing his level best here to make this show marketable to the masses against his college football hipster nature. he's got the game that probably should be up there, posted on the screen here. That between obviously one of the two teams. Last week he had the other team on the screen because he had to make
fucked it up.
weeks
Actually.
mistaken.
Yeah.
So either way, Ohio State obviously traveling to South Bend in a rematch of what was actually a pretty damn good game for most of the game last week. And
last year.
And look, these teams are in different places now. Sam Hartman came along. He looked a little rough at the beginning. Hartman for Heisman.
There you go.
Looked a little rough apparently through the first few practices, but really lit it up in the later practices, spring game. I think they had their spring game.
I think he had 3 touchdowns in the spring game, 2 passing, 1 rushing.
Looking good for Hartman. Meanwhile, Ohio State still has that question to answer at the quarterback position. This is early enough in the season where Ohio State might still be working out the kinks on that. Not to mention the game being in South Bend. You have
Marcus Freeman playing for Ohio State.
Is Laurinaitis still at Notre Dame? I forget what the I think he may have left. I know he was there, but in any event, obviously Freeman, Freeman for all we know could be the next coach at Ohio State if Ryan Day doesn't get it done again. And this could be one of the games that really puts Ryan Day on the hot seat, because a loss to Michigan, right, and a loss to Notre Dame, a 2-loss season here. Are we entering John Cooper territory?
Deep Bettis is in the chat. Watch out.
I don't think so. I think Ryan Day has gotten the short end of the stick many times in a row now. Eventually, people are going to come around. I think it's tough to be the guy after the guy. Urban Meyer obviously being the guy. But Ryan Day, you for a long time have said that you don't think he's got the greatest chops. Are you starting to come around on Ryan Day?
No, I'm not. And I don't think he should
darn close to playing at a national championship last year.
Darn close to winning the national championship. If he hits the field goal or if they don't choke at the end, they probably whip TCU's ass.
Okay.
Based on the Oregon.
If we're going to do what ifs, if Caleb Williams doesn't get injured, remember they're up 17-3 in the Pac-12 championship, then USC's playing and Ohio State's in the Independence Bowl.
Sure.
All right.
The fact is, what did they lose? One regular season game, and they were up at halftime in that game, and then they were beating the national champion.
Were they up at halftime?
59 minutes of that game. Yeah, I think they were up.
Yeah,
20-17, something thereabouts. So look, Ohio State, and clearly a pretty damn good team every single year. Ryan Day, against Clemson. Yeah. Now, would they have gotten worked by LSU in that national championship? Probably, but I thought they were the better team.
They did get robbed against Clemson.
They went to the national championship against Alabama on a pandemic when they didn't deserve to be there, admittedly. But look, you can't really take that away from Day. He's prepared his team well. They're pretty damn good. But he does need to get over the hump at some point.
And they got to go to Michigan this year.
Ooh, to South Bend to Michigan. Ohio State, you got your work cut out for you. This is the game of the week. Fuck you. Actually, there's some other good ones, so it's debatable. It is debatable.
I will debate it. Nick, what do you make of Ohio State at Notre Dame?
I did have it at number 1. Part of it is like the TMZ angle, but still, I mean, these teams combined for 20 wins last year. The game last year, it was kind of close, but it was dull. It was boring all the way throughout. I felt like Notre Dame never really had a chance, even though it was close.
You're just waiting on Ohio State to turn it on.
Yeah, exactly. And I know Ohio State never really turned it on, but they didn't need to because the Irish could only score 10 points against a pretty bad defense. But yeah, I mean, this year it is at Notre Dame and it is year 2 and there is Sam Hartman and everything you just mentioned. So it should be a fun one. And I'm hoping it's closure. I'm hoping it's more entertaining. There's a good chance it will be.
I will say, I forget sometimes about the Marcus Freeman connection to Ohio State, and that makes it a little more appealing than what it normally would. Because I mean, I look at Notre Dame and I see this as a 6-6 team, 7-5 team.
Oh, I think you're gonna be surprised at the end of this year. I think they're gonna have a decent year. The schedule isn't that challenging. As a matter of fact, I almost guarantee you they'll be 4-0 coming into this game. They do have the road trip to NC State, but other than that, prior to this game, they have.
Doesn't NC State have a winning record against them?
True. Got them. Navy, Tennessee State, Central Michigan.
So you ready for the losses?
Yeah.
NC State, Ohio State, Duke, Louisville, Clemson, probably. Pitt might too.
You have losing 5 games.
I just don't think they're very good.
I'll bet you a shot for every loss you predict them that they hit the over. If you
what convinces you from last year?
I just think they're a talented team. I think year 2 under a new coach is going
to. But he loses Tommy Rees.
Tommy Rees is not a good offensive coordinator.
Well, Nick Saban just hired him. You said he's the greatest coach since goddamn Bear Bryant.
What convinces you they'll lose to NC State, Duke, and Louisville? All 3 of them?
Well, I just think they're not that good. I mean, they lost to a lot of teams. Let's be honest. Go back and look at last year's schedule. You know, I thought they got a favorable call to beat Cal. I thought, they did beat BYU, and I feel like that was fair. Like they were the better team.
Look, 7-5 is the absolute floor for this team.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Like, I just think this is a subpar team.
Oh, man, guys, we got a couple Tennessee guys in the chat. GBO Farms, he's in there. Alan Cooley's in here. Oh man, this is a Tennessee takeover. Oh,
there we go. How do they feel about Notre Dame? That's what I want. I mean, honestly, look. I mean, I think this year's schedule is actually a lot harder than last year's.
True.
They had Clemson in South Bend. They have to go to Clemson. Look
Al Golden year 2 as a coordinator.
Look at the road games they have to do. Oh, NC State won how many games last year? 9, was it?
Let me double check.
Right?
It was 8.
Okay.
NC State was
make a lot of sense.
8-5.
Okay, they got to go to NC State though.
Solid
right?
dig.
Yeah. They got to go.
That was more than ECU.
Okay, they got to go to Duke, right? Duke won 9 games last year, almost went undefeated when you look at it. Louisville won 8 games. I'm high on Louisville. I have them playing in the ACC championship. I'll let you know that. Then they have to go to Clemson. And I even think like the other games of bringing in Wake, Pitt, and USC, I think it's a much harder schedule. I think it's a much harder schedule than last year.
Pretty damn slow last year. I know that Marcus Freeman had the bowl game the year before to be an incoming coach, but really these were his first few games. And he did lose his starting quarterback. So especially with Buckner as a backup, now they have some depth and some talent at quarterback. I don't think they're losing to the likes of a Marshall. I don't think they're getting challenged by the likes of a Cal.
Did they lose to Marshall last year?
They did lose to Marshall.
That's what I'm saying.
Stanford. Stanford only had 1 win or 2 wins.
I got you.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is I guarantee you 90% chance. I can't guarantee you 90% chance they're coming into this game 4-0, which we know the AP Notre Dame will be number 1 with unanimous, right? And Ohio State will certainly be 3-0 coming to this game with their previous games being Indiana, Youngstown State, and Western Kentucky. This is going to be a top 10 matchup. Fuck you. Even though you agree with me, Nick, I just like saying that.
I think NC State. I actually think like right now NC State's a better football team than Notre Dame.
It's kind of like one fuck you is like a beer. It feels so much better when you follow one fuck you with another fuck you.
That's right.
You know, it's just like you can't just have one beer. You gotta have a couple.
Get on a roll here.
Half baked. Remember the fuck you amount.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's
keep it rolling.
Let's get done with this nonsense. This nonsense thing. I'm gonna take you to a game that I think is better, or at least I'm more excited to watch it. All right.
You can't win.
Whenever I find the NFL draft theme here, which is somewhere in just a large amount.
There are some fun games this week. I like this.
Here we go. Taking you to good old Salt Lake City. Look, this game, I don't know why the Pac-12 is doing all these favors for USC and UCLA when they sent them a strong fuck you, right? But having USC play in Boulder on like September 30th or something when it's not cold, and having UCLA play in Salt Lake City in September. Yeah, what are you doing, guys? Are you just trying to get all the money you can from these schools before they leave? Because you're really helping them out. UCLA has Dante Moore, a 5-star, that's the highest rated like offensive player UCLA's had in a very long time. And Colin Schlee, who still they have Garbers. Now they head to Salt Lake City. Utah is the reigning Pac-12 champ, 2-time champ actually. It's been, when is the last time UCLA and USC has won a Pac-12?
Has it been that
long? It was
for
Oregon.
USC?
I don't have it. I don't have that.
Sam Darnold probably 18.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean when they beat
Stanford or Oregon,
Penn State in the
So that was your number 1 overall game, Colby.
It's
It was.
been since 2017 that
17.
USC won it. And prior to that, it was since 2008.
So one, because we know UCLA hasn't won one. So we've had one. Big Ten, you're getting one champion, one conference champion.
Years.
Get the fuck out of here. No, this is my favorite game because
the whole week.
Yeah.
UCLA at Utah. Really?
Yes. But didn't both teams win over 10 games last year?
UCLA was probably a lot better than most people remember. Utah did win the Pac-12 again.
And I like the fact at least it's at Rice Eccles. If it was in the Rose Bowl, it'd probably drop like 5 spots. But it's in Rice Eccles.
Well, so there's a problem with that because UCLA has been awful at Rice Eccles. Their last 3 games at Utah, the scores were 44-24, 49-3, and 48-17.
Well, I think that's what Colby likes about it.
No.
You want to see UCLA get pummeled?
Yeah, but those weren't in September, buddy. This is my point. My point is the Pac-12 is helping them out because normally UCLA's got to go up there when it's all cold as shit. And they're like, oh, here's a September match for you where it's nice and hot still.
Is this the first Pac-10 game on the or Pac-12 game on the slate for
UCLA?
Both of these teams?
Yeah, I think both. Yeah.
Pac-12 opener. Yeah, it is generous to give UCLA.
Being very generous. Yeah, I'd rather watch this game. I don't like.
I'm surprised. This did not make my top 5.
Do you guys want to wager on this? I bet you UCLA and Utah have a better record than Notre Dame.
Both of them?
I bet Utah does.
I'm not. I don't know. UCLA?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I think they'll be about the same.
Didn't UCLA have a better record last year?
I think they're both like 8.5 wins. Should be the number.
DTR's gone. Charbonnet's gone.
Buddy, they got Lexington Steel.
Well, there you go. Say no more.
Yeah, they might go undefeated. Yeah, give me UCLA at Utah. So I'm surprised. I'm curious then. Where the hell you seem like you were shocked?
Well, it does have this is UCLA's last year in the Pac-12. Yeah. That is a good angle. Fuck you out the door. You know,
that's why they should have made it like November 15th
to one of their newest additions too. It's like we already brought someone in who's more important than you. Yeah. Out the door.
UCLA has been fucking relevant since Billy Kilmer. All right. Where you go? What game do you have higher rated than this, buddy?
All right, I'm gonna play this one because I want to see Colby's reaction. I'll take you to the ACC, Florida State, Clemson.
Oh! Wait.
All right, well,
this is the book reading game. You want to talk about blowouts? Not
the last 2 years.
Hey, this was the one where the fucking Florida State fans read the Tom Clancy novel in the fucking third quarter. All right.
All I know is that we have a combined 21 wins from a season ago. Yes, Clemson has won 7 in a row in the series. And there was some blowouts.
7 in a row.
But 2 years ago it was 30-20. Last year it was 34-28. Florida State is kind of notching upward. Meanwhile, Clemson might be trending downward. And this is a game that tells me, is Florida State and the hype for real or not?
This is that clip. ACC propaganda.
If he had the
which clip?
A little George.
I hear there's rumors on the internets.
Close. Same guy. Easy to see a tide turn.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You know, half of his board is George W. clips.
Yeah, that's true. Got to narrow it down a little bit.
Buddy, hold on. How about this? Every game since 2013 that they've played in Clemson, South Carolina, has been a double-digit loss.
30-20 2 years ago was a close game.
It's still a double-digit loss, buddy.
I know. Yes, correct.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen this, but this is probably Florida State's highest preseason ranking since, I'm guessing, the year after their national championship.
I mean, that 59-10. That 59-10 stinger a few years back.
Who's running the 40, QB spot?
I mean, look at this: 45-14, 59-10. This guy talking about UCLA Utah blowouts. I'll put it right back on you, buddy.
That's a good point.
All right.
Last 2 years, I mentioned there were some blowouts, but you got to look at trajectory, buddy. Okay, don't look at that rear view mirror. Look through the windshield. All right, we might have a game this year.
And I am looking at that windshield. I say UCLA is going to the Big Ten. They're going to have endless money. These poor peasants in the ACC are not going to have any future. All right, they're going to have friggin' guys like you playing ball for them in 3 years.
Florida State is a turnkey
program. What do you mean, guys like you?
Yeah. Unathletic, tall drinks of water. All right.
Hey, you're talking to the former Herndon Basketball League MVP here.
I know, right?
Give a little respect.
You gotta have an ounce of athleticism to take that kind of hardware home, okay?
An ounce being the operative word.
Look, this game's good. It was in my top 5. I'm not going to bullshit you, but at the same time, you know, the ACC is about as interesting as my asshole, Pat. All right.
Don't ask me about that.
I don't get super excited about the ACC. That's the reality. So Nick, GBO Farm says Nick taking kickbacks from the ACC. That's what he does. He tries to smear this propaganda. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to prop him up.
And sure, we'll see.
Let me tell
here.
you what.
What's
I think you know, I think your hatred of Jimbo Fisher. Now, granted, the ACC was down, but the ACC is pretty damn down right now, with the exception of Clemson. If Clemson doesn't get it figured out, the ACC is going to be as down as it was when Florida State was last dominant. Meanwhile, they're ascending up the rankings. And who's a better coach, Jimbo Fisher or Mike Norvell? Do we know that yet?
Yeah, Jimbo Fisher.
Jimbo Fisher? You're going to give it to?
No, I don't know.
That's the first time I've ever heard Colby favor Jimbo Fisher.
No, I can't take Jimbo Fisher there. But he brought in Bobby Petrino. And you know Bobby Petrino is a man after my heart. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. He might be better at A&M because of that addition.
That's what I'm saying.
Think
Colby loves a man in a neck brace.
Don't we all?
That, very true. Look, I got my future on Texas A&M to win the Natty. All right. The minute they went and brought Road Rash Face in, I said, I'm buying in, baby. Let's go. All right. Have the volleyball team practice right next to the football team. Let's do it.
Well, you know, there's probably some truth to that, because Jimbo Fisher is supposedly running an ancient offense. Bobby Petrino never had a trouble generating offense.
Never had a trouble doing anything. All right.
It's true.
All right.
I would say Florida State, they have potential. Turnkey program. You don't sleep on it too hard, Colb.
He's been saying that about Miami for 20 years.
Touche. All
right.
Touche.
Patty C, it jumps back to you.
You know, I'm taking us way down the list of what most people would probably have as the number 4 game for the week, but it has personal meaning to me, and I think it has some potential here. And I think both teams will be undefeated. Granted, we're only 4 weeks into the season, but we're going to Nippert.
Wow.
We are going to Cincinnati, Ohio.
This guy's all over the place
where
here.
The Oklahoma Sooners will be traveling. And talk about another chance for a conference to say, fuck you, supposed big boy, on your way out the door. We just brought in someone who's already better than you.
Big 12 doing them a favor again, though. This could be really cold if it was 2 months from now.
True. You should put this game
They're
November
killing me
17th.
here. What's going on? There's a conspiracy. All right, come on. Oklahoma at Cincinnati, NC Nick. What do you make of this one?
I think it's an interesting game. I think it's played a little too soon. Again, there's better games in front of this. I had it top 10, not top 5. So this is
again personal reasons here.
True.
Yeah.
So this is the 4th game that we have, and we haven't mentioned an SEC team yet.
But I'll be honest. Well, Oklahoma's an SEC team in my eyes. Well, the Oklahoma would. This is almost like the Houston at Texas angle. Texas at Houston angle. Texas would never ever play at Houston, just like Oklahoma would never ever play at Cincinnati. So I do enjoy.
Actually, they played a home and home in 2008 and 2010.
Really?
Oklahoma lost at Nippert 31-29.
Why do I not remember that?
I'm sorry. Oklahoma won at Nippert 31-29.
Oh, did they sweep them then? I take it. Yeah, it had to be a sweep then. Okay.
I was in Oklahoma's heyday.
When was that? Of Brian Kelly? I do not remember that. Then again, I might have been totally fucking cherry bomb
around the time of Brian Kelly.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm pretty shocked. I was not aware of that.
I mean, prior to what the loss against Tulane at Nippert last year, the win streak at Nippert was in the mid 30s. So it's not an easy place to play, even though it's not a huge stadium. And I think Cincinnati is going to be trying to prove something. Oklahoma was 6-7 last year, which maybe is
Cincinnati's going to be 6-7 this year.
One thing I'm wondering here. So I know that game was in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean it was at Nippert.
That's what I was about to say.
Might have been at the Bengal Stadium.
I bet you it was at the Bengal Stadium.
I don't have that information in front of me. I don't know which one it was, but
I'm going to look this up.
It was in 2010. It was Stoops versus Butch Jones.
Oh, that was the problem for Cincinnati.
You want to talk about? I mean, Cincinnati prior to that. I didn't hear. What was that?
That was the problem. Yeah.
Well, they had a number of problems.
I lost by 2. It was a close game.
Yeah, not that big of a problem. But Tuberville was a bit of a problem too there.
Yeah.
They got it figured out. But Cincinnati,
I think it was Nippert.
It wasn't quite the hornet's nest that it is now. They're going to be hosting Eastern Kentucky, going to Pitt, which will be a great game, and then hosting Miami, Ohio. So they could be 3-0 in that. Oklahoma, meanwhile, will be Arkansas State, SMU, and then at Tulsa. So they'll probably be 3-0 as well. You know, top 25 game here, and could be a massive win for Scott Satterfield to start his tenure in Cincinnati.
Oh, I'll be rooting. All right. You wanted your SEC play. I think it's time to do the SEC play. I know you want me to take Lane against Nick Saban, but I don't think Ole Miss was really that good last year. I thought they had one of the easier schedules, and it's in Tuscaloosa. If it was in Oxford,
West.
If it was in Oxford, I would buy in. I'm not buying that one. You know what I'm taking you? I'm taking you to Road Rash Face, Auburn at Texas A&M. I find this game appealing because you have Road Rash Face against Hugh Strip Club Freeze. That is a SEC. This is classic SEC. You know what I mean? You don't get more SEC than Road Rash Face against Strip Club Freeze. So I love this matchup.
You're not really impressed with either on the field product. You're just
the characters.
The characters.
Yeah,
right.
The characters are all there. All right, and that's why this is appealing to me. And also, I think it's a game that, you know, A&M, the top recruiting class in the nation 2 years ago, are they for real with Bobby Petrino? Because
have they grown up a little?
I think Strip Club Freeze is going to be ahead of schedule like he normally is. So take me to College Station, Auburn at Texas A&M. Nick, I know you're going to shit on it. Talk to me.
5-7 versus 5-7.
Yeah, but okay. But look, last year, TCU was 5-7 the year before. They played for the national championship. Boom! Bring it on, buddy. Let's go.
Like, right? I understand if you don't want to play Ole Miss. Actually, I don't understand because Ole Miss Alabama is very similar to UCLA at Utah because the road team has had no luck at the home team in that matchup.
But that's not entirely true. I feel like
Strip Club Freeze got him once.
Ole Miss got him, in Alabama probably 5-6 years
That's
ago.
why I'm playing Strip Club Freeze. All right, and I don't really consider that a rivalry. You know, like or UCLA Utah to tell you the truth.
I thought for sure you were going Arkansas at LSU rather than Auburn A&M.
Well, I think Arkansas at LSU, had they not lost so many pieces, I think LSU might whoop their ass. So I think Auburn A&M has a better chance to be a better game. And then when you add in the personalities, this is as SEC as it gets.
This was a lot further down on my list, not going to lie.
Dude, no matter who you match up in the SEC West, it's fucking awesome. The fact that you were just rattling off every team.
I honestly find Ole Miss Alabama kind of boring.
A little more
in
so
Tuscaloosa it has been.
Yeah. So I'm going all in on College Station. Patty, see what do you make of Auburn, Texas A&M? Don't forget Steve Adazio's on the staff. When you talk about the staffs here, absolutely fucking amazing.
Well, that just piqued my interest. Steve Adazio's on the staff.
Yeah,
I gotta watch now.
Yeah, he won natties at Florida, buddy. He won natties at Florida.
And you have been Steve Adazio's harshest critic.
Yes, that's the point, though.
Just shitty coaches.
Why do you think A&M only won 5 games last year?
Wait, he's on the A&M staff. I haven't been following Adazio's.
That's your loss, buddy.
Coordinator, position coach.
You know he eats ass.
He definitely eats ass. Do I love this game? Super fun, and both of these teams, no matter how much you hate them, the talent they have, they'll show up in games. I mean,
I'm going to make the
Auburn
case.
almost beat Alabama a couple years ago.
This is the most SEC game the entire season because of the characters. No one's owning the SEC more right now. Look at Texas A&M spending their ass off.
105,000 people going ape shit in the crowd.
This is the most SEC game that occurs on the fucking schedule. All right, because both programs proven to scumbag it up.
Yeah.
All right,
You're
and
right.
they'll just throw as much money. Right? They'll create scandals to fire Brian Harsin. Hey, cheating on his wife. No, he's not.
It's funny because A&M's only been in the SEC for like 10 years,
but the shoe fits, man. The shoe fits.
So SEC.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, Nick.
All right. right, I like this game. Maybe it'll be a noon kickoff if all goes well. Iowa at Penn State. We got a nice matchup of Big Ten West versus Big Ten East. They don't play very often, but Penn State leads the series 17-14. Last time they played at State College, Iowa won by 21.
Wow.
In 2020. They put up over 40 points. That's like 5 Iowa games usually. But we got a contender in the Big Ten West versus a Penn State team that seems to be everybody's favorite dark horse of the year. So I think this is gonna be a fun game.
Iowa, I feel like Iowa just kind of fucks with them, right?
Yeah,
I feel like just the style
17
of
to
play.
14 in Penn State's favor all time.
Yeah.
How many of those games have been in the last 20 years or since 2000? You have that pulled up?
No, I don't.
No.
Let me dive into there. But either way, I would agree with you. And look, Iowa is able to fuck at least in and not Ames, Iowa City. Is
they can
able,
beat anybody.
Yeah, they can beat Michigan. They can beat Ohio.
Yeah.
They can fucking trash Ohio State.
Still stay. People were giving me shit when they said Georgia would win against Iowa by 80 in Iowa City. I still want to see that matchup. All right, I still want to see you come in there. All right, with your 35-year-old fucking quarterback. All right.
That's a great thing to stake your claim at because you know it's never going to happen, so you can't lose.
Yeah.
Well, until the playoff.
Well,
until the playoff.
Why would it never happen? Because they got no guts. All right. They got no fucking guts.
You know, it's because Georgia hates sick kids. That's what it is.
I heard that rumor. All right.
Dude, they have played or they've played this game since 2000. It looks like 1, 2, 3, like 18 times. And I think, or maybe 19 times. And Iowa's won 11. Iowa's won 11 of the last 19 since 2000. Why do they play this much? Are they cross-division rivals?
All right.
They play a lot for teams.
Look, GBO Farm says Iowa wouldn't get a first down against that Georgia D, which is true. But luckily, Iowa has the best punter in the nation.
And they have a couple of pick sixes.
Yeah.
And a punt return.
And Stetson Bennett. I was watching the Ohio State game again today, Georgia-Ohio State earlier today. Stetson Bennett, even though he played really good down the stretch, first half, he looked like ass. All right. And Ohio State's defense, terrible. TCU's defense, not great. Iowa's defense, they got guys that are going to be called on when Thursday the NFL draft comes. They're going to be able to shut down that little cha-cha-cha offense with all those fucking tight ends. All right. Look, who really knows about tight ends? Kirk Ferentz. I know Georgia and Kirby Smart have found ways to make the tight end incredible down there in Athens. But you come into Iowa City with the mecca of tight ends.
Don't play that game. Don't play that game. Now, granted, it's in State College, right?
No, I'm saying Georgia, hypothetical Georgia at Iowa.
Oh, yeah. Georgia's going to have to rethink their ranks at that point. I want to say this. I do think Iowa, I don't think Penn State has the straight burners to I mean, Ohio State plays, it seems like on pretty short grass. I don't know if I'm speaking out of my ass here, but they seem to be a lot faster against the likes of Iowa at home than they are on the road. And they typically get the better of them. I don't know that that's the case for Penn State. I think the talent wise, Penn State's not going to blow them off the board. I think this is going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch this too. Look, Iowa's my favorite team in the nation, so I know you guys are buying into this, $5 million to ECU, which I love, and the primetime effect in Boulder, but I love the Iowa schools. As long as you're not Northern Iowa, I love the Iowa schools. All right.
And GBO Farm says Iowa is white tight end U. They might be a dying breed. What's the complexion of Georgia's tight end?
It's true. It's fair. Brock Bowers out of Napa Valley.
Although I feel like
Georgia gets some brothers at tight end too that can ball.
Yeah.
True, but if Brock Bowers was on Iowa, he'd be catching 400 yards a year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he'd have like at least 35 yards receiving a game. All right, and that's lighting it up. Spencer Petras,
95% of the targets in that offense.
Look, Spencer versus Stetson. We should have seen this matchup. Spencer versus Stetson. This is like meant to be
terrible.
Here.
Why are quarterbacks like? Who is naming these quarterbacks? God, stop.
Gunner.
What was Georgia's quarterback room is Gunner.
Oh,
yeah.
Like Tanner.
No. What's the Carson? Carson Beck. Gunner, and then who's the third one? So
It's just as bad. It's just as bad as the other
yeah,
ones.
Brock Vandergriff. Yeah.
God, stop.
Look, all right, Patty C, you're on the clock.
Let me get this pulled around here. You know, I think this one's a pretty straightforward play. I don't know. We could go SEC West. There's a couple other ones here, but
Be you, buddy.
I am going to be me, and we're going off a little bit off the beaten path here.
Oh man,
This will be much to Colby's pleasure.
He's playing Maryland, Michigan State, isn't he?
Or maybe to his chagrin because he had planned on playing this himself. But we are going to Eugene, Oregon, where the Buffaloes of Colorado will be traveling to play the Ducks of Oregon.
I mean, you got to love this matchup, right? I mean, this is one where Colorado, who knows what the fuck they're going to be, but they have Deion Sanders. And Oregon, obviously Bo Nix back at the helm, but they're replacing Kenny Dillingham. How will the Ducks quack? All right. I don't think they're going to quack very well when they take on my Buffaloes. We'll go up to Autzen. This is Deion's first Pac-12 game, by the way.
This might be played a little too high. If this was in Boulder, this would probably be a better choice.
I think it's a fun game. I don't know. I mean, I had it top 10, so I think you played it at a pretty good spot here. Dude, I think any Colorado game, almost any game this year, you could play top 10.
The sheer amount of flash when you have primetime versus Oregon is much CTV.
Yeah.
Will
Nike
Deion wear his
primetime.
cowboy hat up to Eugene? That's what I want to know.
Hey, and
It's a good look.
Shout out to Pat Forty, who was saying Deion. We needed to give Deion some credit for wearing the cowboy hat because he's the first coach to do this since Bum Phillips. All right, but we want to see this back. All right, so I expect when I see Jimbo coaching against Auburn, I expect him to be wearing a cowboy hat. We can do this. All right?
Swaggy, very swaggy.
Which Texas coach do you think would wear the cowboy hat the best? Holgerson?
Well, Charlie
Jimbo?
Strong, when he put on that golden hat, I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
It looked really fucking good.
It did.
But I want to say this: the brother and we know Colby just took a picture of a guy wearing a female cowboy hat
At the bar the
while
other
we're
night.
watching the Garcia versus Tank Davis fight.
Yeah.
He's making fun of him. But
Yeah, it reminded me of a video game character.
oh yeah, shocking.
No one's gonna know that video
Look up
game,
Shocking.
but he reminded me of like a video game character. But
I think it's super swaggy. That's another reason you gotta love Prime. You know,
Yeah.
he gets in character. Every coach should be forced to get in character with the location that they're at. You know,
yeah,
like Ed Ordron being the guy
that was
from
perfect. That's why he needs to go to Louisiana. I'm hoping Des Moreau gets canned
from
this
the
year.
Water Boy. You know,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was that guy, and everyone loved him for it. Everyone should do that. That's why
So-
Bobby Petrino should have stayed in Las Vegas too. It's a
So
fucking
not really
shame.
answering your question, Colby, because it's not a Texas coach, but the best coach with a cowboy hat other than Deion, Biff Poggi.
Fair, very fair, very fair.
But cowboy hat and cut off sleeves.
Yeah.
It's such a
There's not a lot of like Biff Poggi fits. I feel like there's not a lot of coaches that like back in the day you would have a lot that I feel like would actually
go
fit,
all in.
Would
Yeah.
fit with the cowboy hat.
yeah.
All right, Patty C playing Colorado, Oregon. I love that play. All right, I'm taking you to Little Apple because I just find this game weird because I haven't seen this before. UCF at K-State. I almost wanted to play another Big 12 game over this, but
I think you should have.
I'm intrigued by this because it's never happened. You know, like it just doesn't, it's just weird.
They played in 2010 in Manhattan. George O'Leary versus Bill Snyder. Kansas State won 17-13.
I think I do remember that.
That was the only time these two teams ever played each other.
Almost never happens.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, and now this is a yearly thing. Two passionate fan bases. You know, I love K-State guys. All right. We mentioned Iowa. I also happen to love anything really in the cornfields. All right. Kansas State. I love their program. I love what they're about. Gus Malzahn, he's always wild. You know, like he's always unpredictable as far as
Play calling.
yeah,
and
play calling and stuff. So I
decision-making.
think this is a fun game. I think this is one that I think should be a Thursday night game personally. But I love this matchup. Nick.
So I've always mentioned that conference expansion does ruin rivalries, but it also creates interesting matchups, especially when it's like the first go around. So a lot of these Big 12 matchups, this week, Patty C already played Oklahoma at Cincy. This is the same thing. UCF, Kansas State. I do find it intriguing because it is different. It's new. So yeah, I agree, man. So sign me up.
Patty C,
who's been the better team for the past decade? Let's be honest. Let's give an honest assessment here.
Well, UCF had that like winless season, like 2016 or 15.
Yeah,
or
but they also had 2 straight undefeated seasons.
But that winless season, K-State
that was in the American.
They've never had a winless season under the Snyder era.
That's true. I mean, yes, the ceiling, is it any higher in Orlando than it is in the Little Apple? Who knows? We'll see how UCF stacks up when they get to big boy football, but the floor has definitely been lower in Orlando. Yeah. They've had some bad years down there.
But yeah, and obviously UCF's future, they're going to be getting more money than Florida State unless something changes soon in the coming years. And Miami, which, I know they have John Ruiz, who will probably still make Miami fly because he's rich as shit, but it's intriguing what their program's doing. This was a team that was in the MAC 20 years ago, guys.
Yeah, versus the Big 12 champ.
Yeah, Big 12 champ, multiple Big 12 champ. Ask old Bob Stoops about matching up with the old K-State Wildcats and Darren Sproles. All right.
Wait. Factor here too. Who's running the quarterback show at K-State?
Same guys last year. Will Howard,
John Rice Plumlee. There's playmakers at the quarterback position. That's also a factor that makes this a fun one.
Gotta love it. All right, look, before we get to NC Nick's pick, I want to do this. And we're back on the college football experience, week 4, 2023 preview and draft. Go listen to the first part of the episode because we went through some of our top games, and then also we talked a lot about the new rules in college football, the running clock. We also talked about the SEC trying to essentially stop teams from storming the field. And we talked a lot about some Deion Sanders spring game, some Notre Dame spring game stuff. So check it out. All right. But right now, NC Nick, you're on the clock.
The Big 12 game you should have played was Texas at Baylor.
Really? That wasn't the one I had.
Really? Come on. The last game at Baylor?
That's true. But there's another one that always gives us classics.
I just think
it's hard to sleep on this game.
These games have been great lately. Baylor's won the last 2 in Waco. When's the next time Texas goes to Waco?
Never. It's going to be a while. Yeah. It's going to be a while.
So it's going to be a while now. I thought both of you guys will be all over this game. Why is it me playing this here?
That's true. Big 12 Nick, or Big 12 hater Nick, having to step up and be the man.
I feel like I've been picking a lot of Big 12 games in our weekly previews this year.
That's because they went in, they dipped into the Eastern time zone, and you're super excited about that. All right.
Finally, I can pick some Big 12
games. Yes. They don't just have West Virginia. Now they're like, oh, you got Cincinnati, you got UCF, you got a few teams.
There's a place for a coastal elite in the Big 12 now.
Duke might be in the Big 12. Who knows? In a couple of years. He's opening up. He's like, oh, we could be a Big 12
they get
team.
Fresno. He's like, this is my spot now.
No, Texas Baylor's a good game, and I actually think Baylor's going to be a lot better this year. They had a little bit of a step back year with Dave Aranda and the young quarterbacks there, and this is the last time they're coming into Waco, and I actually think it's a trap spot too, man. This Definitely. Is I think a sneaky game because Oklahoma. This is a Red River Shootout. Is what? Is that next week or the week after? Actually, I think that's 2 weeks. Still, it's kind of a sleepy game. So Texas Baylor. Patty C, what do you make of it?
Well, who's running the QB show? I don't have that off the top of my head. I'm looking at memes over
Blake
here.
Shapen at Baylor.
Shapen at Baylor.
He started and won the Big 12 championship 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean that's a resume bullet point for you.
Baylor's been the much better program than Texas over the past decade.
Sounds like Manning is nowhere near ready to take the reins of the Texas offense. So
who was it? Harbaugh that was
Harbaugh was calling him out.
Ragging on him.
Yeah.
And maybe he was right, but that said, Ewers impressive in spots last year.
The second string, I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. He looked good. Not Manning. Manning was the second string. The third string, who's now the second string.
Yeah, because Hudson Card transferred out.
Yeah, but the other kid, who's a 4-star out of California, looked way better than Arch Manning too. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now.
In spring ball.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I want to find something real quick as far as the rivalry here. What the most recent, because this game's in Waco. What the record has been in Waco lately? Let's see.
Baylor's won the last 2 in Waco. I know that much.
24-10 and 31-24 in 2019 and 2021 respectively. Before that, not quite the same level of success, but maybe Baylor gets it done again here. This is the kind of game that Texas has lost.
Yeah.
I'm seeing people once again expecting Texas to be. I saw them as a playoff team in a recent prediction.
Everyone's saying it again. How many years do I have to take this abuse?
Bijan Robinson is gone.
Did you know Miami was
going to play Miami in the in the
Bowl
Invitational?
Yeah.
Well, Miami was I was looking back at last year. They were favored to play Clemson in the ACC championship, of course. Hilarious. All right. Well, Patty C, it jumps back to
you. There's a Big 12 game. There's another Big 12 game. But let's just do it. Let's go SEC West. And Nick made an interesting point about a game there. That's also, I don't know. I'm going to go with the obvious choice here. I'm going Ole Miss at Alabama.
You got to play it here. You got to.
It's TMZ. You know, you got Lane Kiffin against Nick Saban for that. That's fun in its own right. But will Alabama probably whip their ass? Yes. We do need to see Alabama's quarterback situation. Maybe they're still, working out the kinks there. That could potentially make this an interesting game. Is Ole Miss going to take a step forward?
Can I rattle off some of the look? I understand the last time they played was 30-24 in Oxford last year, but
in that game, Ole Miss had a chance to win right at the end.
But go back to the ones in Tuscaloosa, 42-21 and 21, right? In 19, 59-31, in 17, 66-3, right? And then you get to the Strip Club Freeze miracle game off the helmet, 43. The Ole Miss actually won. That was the only time they've won in Tuscaloosa since, holy shit, since 88. So
I mean,
it belongs to be played here.
Yeah, sure.
All that is probably why it's not a top 5 game, but it's certainly a top 10 or 12 or whatever number we're at now. So it's still an interesting matchup because it is Kiffin versus Saban.
Sure. I think it's probably, look, I have a couple games that I'm going to make a case for that I think are better, but it's in this realm. I feel like it's in this area where you play this. And you could argue that this game could be closer than Colorado, Oregon, or Iowa, Penn State or something. I don't know, but
I really do feel like it's a blessing for Ole Miss to catch him this early. If Ole Miss had any chance of, I think the SEC West is still probably too hard to grind for that team, but they've surprised me. They've been better than I thought they have been, would be over the past few years. So maybe if the time for Kiffin to get an SEC West title, this could be it right here.
You're right there. You're right there. All right. I'm sorry, guys. I just got to play this now. This is the game I was talking about, Nick. Taking you to Ames, Oklahoma State at Iowa State. It doesn't sound really great, but when you factor in that the last 8 matchups have been by a score or less, including one of them that kept Oklahoma State out of the playoffs on a Thursday night in Ames, including another one that kept Oklahoma State out of a playoff spot back in 2021 when Iowa State won 24-21, got a little questionable call, the questionable spot on a 4th down and 1. These games have been classics. Look at this, 20-14 last year. All right. The year before, 24-21. The year before that, 24-21. The year before that, 34-27. The year before that, 48-42. The year before that, 49-42. The year before that, 38-31. The year before that, 35-31. Every one of these games is fucking close. These games are chaos. Iowa State has been a thorn in their side in some of their best years. And I think Matt Campbell and the Cyclones are going to bounce back in a big way this year. So give me Oklahoma State going to Ames. You know I love my farm teams. What do you make of this one, Nick?
Very fitting that this game is the same week as Oregon State, Washington State, because this is the Oregon State, Washington State game of the Big 12. And I say this every year. I love to see these teams, Oklahoma State play Oklahoma. I love to see Iowa State play Texas. These are like the little brothers, kind of. When they play each other, I'm just like, nah, it's okay. It's not bad. This is not my favorite game. I'd rather see Baylor try to knock off Texas. That's more fun when Texas loses.
Man. No. I kind of disagree with you, man.
Disagree.
These little chippy ones.
Go ahead. Disagree.
This has developed into a good rivalry.
Not even a rivalry here. Just second tier programs fighting. I find it's like the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. It's more entertaining than the Super Bowl because there's more hatred and less glamour.
Well, I'm just saying, Texas Baylor. I don't think they've had any problems derailing the playoffs. In this specific game has had two moments that has ruined the playoff chances of the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
But
they were right there.
Patty C named them second tier programs, which is right. I love to see a second tier program try to knock off a top tier program at home. That's the game that's going to be ranked higher on my list. When it's second tier program for a second tier program, it's like, okay, yeah, it's probably going to be a close game, probably going to be competitive. It's going to be a good game, but I'm not like, kill myself to watch this game this weekend.
I'll put it like this. Chances that they storm the field, I would actually put Iowa State at like plus 400 here. I don't think they'll storm the field in South Bend. I don't think they'll storm the field in Utah. I think if you're talking about that, I think it's probably this game. Yeah, I would say this or Baylor would be out of the games we've played the most likely for them to storm the field.
Maybe. I don't know if a field storming is in store for Iowa State.
They've done it a few times in this matchup.
I don't think not a lot to do in Iowa. Not a lot to do in Iowa.
I don't think you guys remember those classics. And shame on you. That's because your hatred for the Big 12. All right.
Catching a guilt trip here from Colby.
Can't be
fooled again. I've probably played more Big 12 games through 4 weeks than Colby has.
Wow, we're gonna have to dig up the stats on that, but you may be right.
I don't know about that.
NC Nick working hard.
I don't know about that.
Maxie Meldo's calling me a party pooper. Look,
yeah.
I don't think I think I respect your angle, and I think there is something to it. And let me qualify my statement from before. A second tier rivalry game is just as fun as anything else. In fact, like a Georgia, where they had been prior to their like recent dominance against Auburn, would always be more appealing to me than Alabama versus Auburn. Even though there's some great games, Alabama, Auburn, the need to try and step up a level between those like second tier teams.
Another thing is I've been to this game, so I've seen the fans packed, even though COVID was going on. They didn't give a shit. They didn't give a shit when I was there. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I think this game's fantastic. To me, it never disappoints. At least in the past decade, it hasn't disappointed.
Cornfields versus wheat fields.
Let's go. All right, NC Nick.
I mentioned this game a long time ago, maybe a half hour ago. Arkansas at LSU. Great SEC West matchup. The last 3 games have all been decided by exactly 3 points. You want to talk about a close rivalry? How about this one?
It's true. I think they should end the season on this one too. I like this game.
Yeah,
but I think this year
underrated here. This should be a top 10 game, and we're far past the top 10.
I just feel like this year, I think Arkansas is heading the wrong directions. LSU is heading the right direction. In Baton Rouge, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 21-point game.
I don't know about that, man.
Arkansas lost their whole defense, their DC, a bunch of their position coaches. They lost Kendall Briles on the offensive side of the ball. I just think that they're
KJ Jefferson, Rocket Sanders. Who
We'll
else,
see.
Patty C?
Yeah, not giving a whole lot of credit to Pulled Pork Pittman, kind of dismissing him as the recipient of.
Well, Brian Kelly and his
some great
family.
coordinators.
I think you're the one that's been saying, "Hey, look, it was only year one. Kelly with LSU talent, they're only going to win national championships."
No, I feel
Guys,
like
2 years ago, we dismissed Pulled Pork Pittman with the Arkansas win total that season. We looked at the schedule. We're like, no way in hell this team goes bowling. Their schedule is an absolute, it's brutal. And what do they do? Like they went 8-4 or something. Proved us all wrong. He can prove you wrong again.
And this should be the final. This should be the rivalry game. This should be the final week of the season. Bring it back. I want to see it on Black Friday. Arkansas
Pulled
LSU
Pork Pittman's an example of a guy that fits the mojo of the state. Brian Kelly, the exact opposite. But that's fun in its own right.
My family.
That is.
We're gonna see Brian Kelly's coaching chops. I will say
with this gun, he's Brian Kelly.
Oh no, he's doing the Batusi while grinding on his own football player. Hey, this is we're gonna find out if Brian. What I'm saying is, I think he's already recruiting better than he was at Notre Dame, and so. Right there, he's kind of proven right.
You have to be able to, but that's what I'm saying.
But all the Notre Dame
anybody
haters,
could do that.
Yeah,
I agree.
Arkansas is probably recruiting.
I think it's an obvious fucking statement. But all the Notre Dame people now disown Brian Kelly for even fucking saying that, even though he revived Notre Dame. You are fucking idiots. The fan base are fucking idiots. That guy revived the program. He made an obvious statement about the ability to recruit, and on something Notre Dame prides themselves on is the admission standards. It's like you can't have it both ways, you fucking morons. And I like Notre Dame. Look, that said, I do think LSU probably wins this game comfortably.
I think this year just might be. I hope you're right because they have given us classics. Remember Houston Nutt, Darren McFadden at the Wildcat, ruining LSU's season one year. But
it's a tough place to play. Oh, yeah. They're in
Baton Rouge. That's why I kind of think it's going to be a blowout. But all right, fair enough. Patty C.
There are some fun games here. There are still some fun games here, but I'm going to go with one. You know what? I'm going to go with one that involves the defending national champion playing a rival, or defending national runner-up, I should say. That is SMU traveling just down the road to TCU, Dallas, Fort Worth.
This one has really heated up. I don't know if you guys have caught this, but since they stole Sonny Dykes,
40 miles apart.
Yeah, the iron skillet battle here. This is and since they took Sonny Dykes and they went and got Rhett Lashley used to be the OC under Sonny Dykes, but they really took offense to that. And they're with their NIL collective, they really want to get to TCU's level. This is a very, very underrated one.
I mean, the fact that TCU is probably involved in the Big 12 shunning SMU, despite them being the obvious choice for expansion. And now the Pac-12
might be getting,
and they're crossing over with the Big 12, potentially going into Fresno. It's like they're sitting in each other's backyards as archers. This is kind of like a Florida State situation or any, cross conference rivalry between next door neighbors.
And if you look at like the past three games, if you go further back than that, there were some blowouts, but the past three games, last year, TCU 1-score game, they win by 8 in Dallas. The 2 years prior, SMU won both matchups. Sonny Dykes is currently 3-0 in this last three games. So Nick, what do you make of this one? They've been playing this game forever too.
The Iron Skillet. I mean, that's a great name. That's a great name for a college football game.
Yeah.
Amen. And I have a nice nugget here that for this game, and then we also have Jonathan Mundy in the chat asking about ECU. So this is an interesting nugget right here. So SMU ranks as the 10th best incoming portal class according to 24/7 Sports. The next highest G5 school, it's actually ECU at 43rd. That tells you SMU.
They're playing big boy ball.
Exactly. Dude, they're spending money, man.
That's right.
I read an article about this, and they have a different approach than most teams. They have basically they're paying everybody on the team. There's a lot of teams that there's certain players that just aren't paid your third string running back or fourth string running back.
Right.
SMU is doing this thing of no, you come here, everyone's getting paid.
Look, we're from Washington, D.C. You would figure Dallas would be communist like that. Yeah.
I do wonder if they change that philosophy moving forward. But look, I know they're asking about East Carolina as a potential top 25 team. I don't think so. I think had we brought everybody back, but you mentioned we had a top 50 transfer portal class incoming. But what we lost was huge. What we lost was huge. Malik Fleming, our starting corner, went to the Houston Cougars in the Big 12 now. Our best defensive lineman went to TCU. We lost another edge guy to South Florida, where he's from. We lost UCF, took our starting safety. NC State took our other safety. Piece of shit, by the way.
See, and that's why these transfer portal rankings are really ridiculous, because they only look at incoming.
Our best offensive lineman starting for Auburn now, and he was highly sought after. You know, he took an NIL deal. He was about to go to Bielma in Illinois, and Auburn outbid him. So I mean, we really got hit bad in the portal. Had we brought those guys back, I actually believe that we would have been right around a fringe top 25 team. But
according to Patty C, Holton Ahlers was the guy holding you back. So at least.
Hey. You see, I saw who was it? CBS. Someone did a story that he could be the sleeper of the draft. Someone did a story about that, saying scouts are high on all Holton Ahlers.
Yeah, I'll give Holton Ahlers this. It may not be pretty, but the production was there. It's kind of undeniable production. But God, he had.
And when he's on the Memphis Showboats next year, he's going to show you something.
Which one of these programs has more potential, SMU or TCU?
Well,
I actually think. I don't know. This is interesting because
TCU's getting more money.
Oh,
a lot
for
more
sure.
Money.
Well, and they just played in the national championship, and to build on that foundation is amazing. But I was looking back before, those pieces of shit, Texas A&M and Texas, that were in cahoots to drag down fucking SMU. Dude, you can make a case they won like multiple national championships in the 80s. They just weren't given it because they had like 11-1 seasons. The champion was winning at 11-1 in like 80, 81, 82, 83. SMU was 11-1, beat Texas, who was deemed ahead of them. Yeah. And it's like, they just wouldn't give him it because it was a brand new school showing up being
what
like,
was the
hey,
game we watched in the 80s when was it SMU that basically got robbed by Texas? They threw the ball out of the end zone, called it a touchdown.
Yes.
One of the worst calls I've ever seen in my life.
That shit was criminal what they did to SMU. People think, oh, they were cheating. They were cheating, right? Everyone was cheating. Get the hell out of here. Oh, I think better say ODU better than ECU, please. ODU is going to win 2 games this year. George Mason, when they start their football program, maybe. All right. All right. Let's
where are we?
Let's move along. What did we play last? Who was that? Huh?
That was me.
That was a great play, though. I like that game. I like that game. All right. Well, I'm taking you. There's a few that I like, and there's one that it kind of reminds me. It kind of reminds me of Oklahoma State, Iowa State in the Pac-12.
Because I said that.
No, it's not that one.
Oh, okay.
Because this one's had more classics lately. And you really just have to be a college football guy, I think, to be watching all these games. Especially, I know Nick has a decent excuse because he's got kids, and these games are always on late as shit. But the last few matchups of Cal Washington have been awesome. They've been awesome games. Hear me out on these. 28-21 last year, Cal loses. All right. The year before, Cal loses in overtime, 31-24 in Seattle. The year before that, Cal wins in Seattle 20-19. The year before that, Cal wins in Berkeley 12-10. I mean, these are fun. These are fun. No one. That's how you know your level of college football fan. All right. Most would say this game sucks, but these games have been fucking fire lately. They've been fire lately. And when I look at this matchup, I say, okay, the last couple ones in Seattle, I feel like it's a sleepy spot too. They just come back from playing Michigan State. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, they might be thinking they're hot shit. They go to the big old bad Big Ten, win by double digits. And then Justin Wilcox, who did the youth movement thing last year, started a bunch of young guys. Watch out. Watch out. Give me Cal heading to Seattle. Nick, start your shit talking now.
Actually, I mean, I might have had a couple of games higher right now, but I think this is the range where it should be played. I am aware of how close the games have been. I think I've actually bet and won some money on them, even though I haven't actually watched a whole lot of them. So, no, it's a good game. It is kind of an under the radar matchup every year. And you're right. It could be a tricky spot for Washington, who they have their sights set pretty high this year. If they don't watch out, even with this game being at home, yeah, they could be coming back from a long road trip, smelling themselves, and they might just drop one here.
Like I said, look, 3 out of the last 4 in Seattle. So 3 out of the last 4 in Seattle, you have 31-24 Washington escapes in overtime. You have them losing 20-19. And I believe, if memory serves me correct, Cal went for 2, right?
What was the score last year?
It was a 7-point game in Berkeley last year.
Wilcox plays them close.
Yeah, and then you have the 30-24 matchup in 2015. I'm telling you, it's underrated little Pacific Northwest battle. All right, NC Nick, bounces over to you.
Well, since you two are, especially Colby, ACC haters, here's a game that is very similar to all these other games you mentioned. UNC at Pitt. You want to talk, before you guys open your mouth, you want to talk about close games. Before last year,
God,
these two teams played 10 straight games decided by 1 score or less. 10 straight games
through every one of them
by 1 score or less.
Here's the problem, buddy. Chapel Hill is a terrible crowd, right? They're not a good college football crowd. And then ever since Pitt has moved to that NFL stadium, it's a sleepy fucking environment.
I can't argue with that either. Yeah. But there's been a lot of fireworks on the field. I mean, last year Drake May threw for 388 and 5 touchdowns, probably his best game of the whole season, of his whole career. And other than last year where UNC won 42-24, like I said, like there's just been crazy games when
they
these
are
two
completely opposites.
Yeah,
they are complete opposites.
The snobby elite versus the tough Pittsburgh team would have a little mojo as far as the typical poor guy, rich guy dynamic, but no, there's nothing compelling about it. Like from a cosmetic standpoint, I guess if the games have been close and it's relevant, which it probably will be in the conference chase.
Yeah, you can make a case that one of these teams is going to it could play for the ACC championship.
Well, one of them did last year and one did the year before. So yeah, I think you could say that.
We had the Coastal Blues. Now that there's no Coastal,
someone's got to win. Flip a fucking
now it's a little harder for these Coastal schools. We'll see, but yeah, okay. I just wish Pitt. I always say this, but I mean, when you go back and look at that awesome stadium they had, all the way up until like 1999. It's just, how do you fuck that up?
It's actually not a great reflection on the good people of Pittsburgh that they can't even fucking.
How do you
fill a stadium?
Because it's not even close to the campus.
Who cares? They're your only college team.
You gotta be on campus. What else
is going on
campus? You have to be on campus.
Yes, it's much better.
Doing Jaeger bombs and all that shit. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta.
I wonder how is the University of Pittsburgh. I don't know much about the Pittsburgh college experience.
Well, Keaton Slovis transferred, chasing some scattered ass there. And he transferred from USC, and then he
transferred to BYU.
Yeah, no, wasn't he dating like the volleyball player or something?
Oh,
so I guess.
Okay.
He went celibate after Pitt.
Well, he probably threw too many interceptions. She probably moved along. Kenny Pickett's still in Pittsburgh, so
let me tell you,
probably laying that pipe.
The Pittsburgh, I think it's like this Midwest Rust Belt. You presume. Ugly ass chicks compared to like there's that meme with Roethlisberger with the big fat chick wearing a Roethlisberger jersey and the super hot chick wearing the Cowboys Romo jersey. My experience, girls in Pittsburgh are freaking smoke shows. It's a town with a bunch of hot ass women. Of course, everywhere.
My experience in Pittsburgh, everyone can build you a house.
Those are the dudes. Yeah. Maybe the women too. Let's be honest.
You go into a bar, you have any problems with roofing, they got you covered. All right. All right. I mean, yeah, you make a good case on the fact that the games have been close. And maybe had Pitt been in the ACC as long as like Cal Washington, because I know they've been playing that one forever, maybe I would put it on the same level.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but it's still a good player. Patty C jumps back to you.
Starting, I think, to get a little bit to the point where the games have a little less, but there is still a fun one out there. Talk about your number 2 versus number 2 game on the slate. Here we have Oregon State at Wazoo, right? Oregon State, Washington State. Obviously, neither won the state flagship. The Oregon versus Washington game is the most hype game of that region, Pacific Northwest. But this game also chippy and fun programs.
You know why I highlighted this game the other night doing a solo show about Oregon State's chances of playing in the Pac-12 championship, right? They were pretty close last year, and when they were terrible at quarterback last year. Had Brandsetter or whoever, Gunderson, all their fucking lawn chairs been able to just not throw an interception, they would have beaten USC and they would have played for the Pac-12 championship. They got robbed also with a terrible call at Washington. So the only game they truly got their ass kicked in was in the Utah game. Now you look at this year's schedule, and to me, this is a very important game for them because I kind of expect them to be undefeated. They're at San Jose State, which is a little tricky. They get UC Davis and Dan Hawkins. It's the Big 12 in the FCS. And then you got San Diego State. But if they get this one against Washington State in Pullman, they have a nationally televised game where Utah has to go to Corvallis. And just to refresh your memory, folks, last time Utah went there, Oregon State dealt them an ass kicking. All right. So then you look at the road schedule. To me, if they get through this, if they get through Washington State, they host Utah and UCLA. They don't play USC. They're also hosting Washington. Those all have to go to Corvallis. Their away games are in Berkeley. Drop some acid. I think Cal's a decent team, but
Oregon State's better.
Yeah, I think they should be able to win that. At Arizona, they have a bye week before that one. Not necessarily a lit environment. At Boulder, we think Colorado, who knows what they're going to be, but Oregon State's the more talented roster right now. And then obviously the Civil War on November 24th, but
no, every single road game on that schedule
a great
is
road
winnable
schedule
up until
they got to win this.
Awesome.
That's what I'm saying. This is a huge game for the Oregon State. I think it's one of the biggest games on their schedule. So I like this play. Nick, what do you make of it? I know you kind of already talked shit about it, but fire away.
No, I mean, I guess at this point it belongs in the conversation, but yeah, you're right. Usually I like to see Oregon at Oregon State, Washington at Wazoo, et cetera, et cetera. When the two play each other, I don't really have a dog in the fight. In the other matchups, I'm going with the dog. I'm going with Oregon State. I'm going with Washington State. When they play each other, I'm like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
you know, I think that's a fair point.
We're gonna dial Nick in on this year. The appreciation
he'll be asleep at this time.
of the second level. That's true.
Yeah,
it's gonna be at fucking 4 a.m. Eastern. Look, 8 straight wins for Wazoo coming into last year.
Really, I'm surprised.
Yeah, obviously in Corvallis.
Well, no, when
Mike won Leach.
When Smith took it over, they were terrible.
Yeah.
So he had to go through that.
The tide has turned. Yeah. Can they get it done on the road though?
Can
4
they get
straight
it done on the road? Martin Stadium
in Pullman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Actually, before we get to my next pick, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Shady Rays. Yeah, Shady Rays has you covered from the sun to the slopes with premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and much, much more. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company that truly offers a world-class product that's as good as any expensive pair of sunglasses you ever wore. They got durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. And look, they have one of the best deals I've ever heard of. If you lose or break a pair of your sunglasses, even on day one, they will send you a brand new pair without any questions asked. So you could essentially be sightseeing. You could be over there in Ireland, the cliffs of Moher, and look down, and all of a sudden your glasses just fly off. All right. Or it could just be on purpose. Maybe you're at the top of the Empire State Building. You're arguing with your wife. You just throw your sunglasses off the top. All right. Hopefully you don't kill somebody. Right. But my point is they're not even going to ask questions. Boom. Next pair coming. All right. So with Shady Rays, you can not only look good, you can feel good. To date, they've donated over 20 million meals to fight hunger with Feeding America. Fantastic. So you know their heart's in the right place. And right now, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out the best deal of the year. Go to shadyrays.com. Use the promo code SGPN for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades that are rated 5 stars by over 200,000 people. Yes. All right. We are back on the college football experience. And I'm taking you to a game. Oh, man. There's a lot that I like on the board here. I know Patty C probably will shit on that. but I like a lot of these matchups on the board. I really do.
Now we're getting into some of the G5 games and everything. Now we're getting into an interesting place.
Thank you, buddy. And that is why I'm going to take you to Knoxville, Tennessee, where I find an interesting matchup here.
Well, that's definitely interesting.
Tennessee, you know, they have a Power 5 on the schedule. Not really in UVA. This is their real Power 5 that they have on the schedule. The Roadrunners, Meep Meep and Frank Captain Harris coming in to Knoxville. Oh man, you know, this UTSA program was able to retain Frank Harris. Everyone was trying to get Frank Harris. That gives them a puncher's chance. I know Tennessee and Josh Heupel's got this program rolling. I think we might have a game here. I think we might have a game here in Knoxville. Patty C, what do you make of UTSA at Tennessee?
Well, I'm sure both of you guys have realized the game before that Tennessee has going to Florida.
Oh yeah.
Nice little spot.
Nice little spot. Anytime. I don't care if Florida is 0-10 in the last fucking 10 games.
Yeah.
Tennessee's going to relish beating them. And it's been a hard road to hoe for Tennessee against Florida for a long time. They got the better of them how many years now?
One?
Has it only been one? So yeah, they're still going to take play. Who knows how long it's been since they beat them in Gainesville. So
I think Florida won 7 in a row before last year, if I'm remembering last week correctly.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull that up here in a second, but I think it's probably been a while since they've won in Gainesville. Either way, that's a huge win for Tennessee if they get it done. Coming home against and playing UTSA, who if they are, I mean, they have a tough start to their slate too.
Can you imagine if UTSA beats Houston and like Houston plays in the Big 12 championship or something, and then UTSA gets Tennessee, who wins 10 games in the SEC?
It goes to the SEC championship.
A lot of ifs there.
The Alamo could be the new heartbeat of Texas football.
That's what I'm saying. They're the future, man. They're the future until East Carolina comes into that filthy roller rink and beats the tar out of them.
This is a huge game. I mean, UTSA gets a slight one more day to prepare because they play Army the Friday night the week before.
The triple option doesn't exist. There's Army in the shotgun. All right, it's going to help them.
How do you think matchup wise, schematically, UTSA is prepped to handle Tennessee's attack?
UTSA can move the ball in Tennessee. The question is can UTSA's defense stop Tennessee at all, which is a big if.
Well, I feel like they're probably seeing a similar scheme in practice every day because, a mobile quarterback who can throw the ball. It's that offense. They're kind of running the same offense there. Maybe UTSA is a little better prepped to stop them than anyone is thinking right now.
Nick, what do you make of the Roadrunners heading into Knoxville?
I love the game, man. I remember back in 2016, App State went into Knoxville and took the Volunteers into overtime.
No, they should have won that. That kicker missed like 3 field goals and an extra point.
They really should have. Yeah. Now, I mean, this year's Tennessee squad is better than the 2016 Tennessee squad. But I also think UTSA this year is better than App State that year. So this is a fun game, man. I love it. This is a game that I definitely want to watch because I think it could be closer than people expect. I don't know what kind of line. I mean, we're looking at week 4 now, so who knows? But
yeah,
I think we could see at least a cover here.
Yeah.
Are we confident that Joe Milton is going to step up and do as decent a job as Hendon Hooker did last year?
I don't even know if he's definitely won the job yet because they have Nico, the 5-star. Got $8 million out of Long Beach.
Yeah.
All right, but I think it's probably going to be Milton if I had to bet. NC Nick is on the clock.
Well, this game has my name written all over it. You got ACC, you got Sunbelt, you got P5 at a G5. I'm talking about Virginia Tech at Marshall. I love this game. ACC better watch out, man. I know it's been since 1940 was last time Marshall beat Virginia Tech. And at that time, the Virginia Tech head coach, Henry Puss Red, lost to Marshall back-to-back years.
Henry Puss Red?
Your nickname might not want to be Puss when you're the head coach of a football team. But It was for Virginia Tech,
especially push red. Just dripping push red. Okay.
Well, it must have been that time of the month when they lost to Marshall.
Didn't they play an overtime game? I feel like not that long ago. I feel like in Blacksburg there was a game that went to overtime. Am I crazy?
Tech has struggled against local G5 schools, so you might not be crazy, but at least they won, because I looked this up and Marshall hasn't won in a long time. But I think this is a fun game because I think it does have upset potential.
Oh, definitely. And they haven't played. They played once in Huntington since 1940, and that was in 2011 when Beamer still had it going. Dude, Marshall's going to win this game. Like, I think Marshall might win by double digits.
And you want the Brent Pry experience to, ground out here.
This is a game. I like it because they're not far apart. What is the mileage, I wonder? But
talk about another game that, this is Coal Mountain football.
Love it. Love it. This should happen. Actually, they should play more often.
I agree.
They should play like at least once every 5 years.
Or I should say Coal Mine football.
Yeah.
Same difference.
Cold Mountain is that movie, right?
Cold Mountain.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Civil War movie?
Mountain. I don't know. That's the only mountain I know about.
Gettysburg.
Glory.
That's a Will Ferrell movie, right? I love this matchup. Well played.
Is Virginia Tech going to be prepped to stop that run game?
Dude, Marshall's the better team right now.
Who's got more grit? This is a grit test.
What's more likely? We've played 3 group of 5s against Power 5s: SMU, TCU, UTSA, Tennessee, Virginia Tech, Marshall. It's easily Virginia Tech, Marshall, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And because the G5's at home too.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Patty C.
Well, I would say this has been criminally left off the board, not only because of the quality of the matchup, but also because basically having the slate really to itself based on the other game on Friday night. This is Boise State going to San Diego State.
At the Snapper.
Nice game.
Yeah. I mean, Pac-12 or not Pac-12, Mountain West.
Maybe Pac-12.
Maybe eventual Pac-12 implications, but for this year, certainly Mountain West implications.
So, I think the last 2 Mountain West championships have featured both teams.
Both teams?
Yeah.
Wait, one in each of the last
Boise
2?
played last year and lost.
Okay,
San Diego State played the year prior and lost, but they had their whole roster out because COVID.
Yeah,
over the last decade, these are the 2 best teams in the Mountain West.
Yeah.
Say no more.
Maybe you make an argument with Fresno, but I think it's probably San Diego State.
Yeah.
This one being in the Snapper, I would give Boise the slight edge overall in a neutral field, but in the Snapper, it's pretty damn good game.
This game is a really good weekday game. Nick, what do you make of this one?
Oh, it's great. I think, like I said, this is the premier Mountain West matchup for the last decade or so. Maybe San Diego State is kind of trending downward. We'll see, but I think it definitely deserves to be played, especially by itself Friday night.
Gotta love it.
We should find our way down to San Diego for this game.
We should, because I don't really care about watching the NC State Virginia game. So we could sit in traffic.
Nick and I will probably talk shit about that game, but I
don't want to see Brennan Armstrong coming home with Robert and I.
That's true.
That's true. Maybe that game needs to get played.
It's gotten a little bit juicier because of
angle.
That, all right. You can't be leaving these ones out here for me, guys. As much as I want to play the game that I'm potentially going to go to, I can't yet because BYU heading to Lawrence, Kansas is fucking appealing. Kansas made a bowl. Lance Leipold is I was talking to some pals about some college football online, and they asked me a question. Do I think we could see Kansas in the Big 12 championship this year? And you know what I said? It would not shock me. He went from 2 wins when their win total was a half a game, to 6 wins, and probably would have been more had their starting quarterback not gotten knocked out for half the season. It would not shock me if they're 9-3, and I think 9-3 will have you in contention for playing for a Big 12 championship. Now, does that mean I'm taking Kansas to go 9-3? I'd have to dive deeper into the schedule, but
That is thinking the trend of astronomical improvement can continue indefinitely. I think there's some diminishing returns as you improve. I think it gets tougher to win a game.
But I also think his team gets better.
Yes, but you're not
like the players on the roster are way better now than they were 2 years ago. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen. Then you have BYU, who I think is underrated as well. This one, sign me up for this one. I mean, look, you go back and look at Kansas's year a year ago. They lose the bowl game in overtime to Arkansas, who Nick just said is one of the greatest teams in college football, right? They easily could have beat TCU. That's the game Jalen Daniels got injured. That's the game. Remember, TCU played like 4 straight weeks of playing teams where the quarterbacks got injured. That was one of the games that was right there for them to grab. Watch out. I think injuries played a big part down the stretch for them. They're going to be healthier this year. They're going to be deeper because it's another year in Leipold's system. And then you got the BYU Cougars, who I think are just I think if there's one of the 4, if I had to pick one of the 4 new teams, which one has the best odds to play for the Big 12 championship? I think BYU has the best.
Their schedule is getting easier by joining the Big 12.
And I also think they play a style of football that is there, like it's going to be on that level. I need to see Houston and UCF and Cincy get to that level.
What are the records going to be in this game? BYU hosting Sam Houston, hosting Southern Utah, and then going to Arkansas, which is a winnable.
2-1 or 3-0.
And then Kansas hosting Missouri State, hosting Illinois, and going to Nevada.
I think they're going to be 3-0.
Top 25 matchup potentially.
Maybe Nick. What do you make of it?
Fringe. No, it's good. I like it. I like all 3 of the Big 12 matchups with the new opponents this week. I do think I think we've ranked it in the right order, though. I think Oklahoma Cincy is the best one. Look, I mean, you have college football playoff teams within the last 5 years. 2 of them in that matchup. Then I think UCF K-State's the next best one because you have UCF has been better than BYU in the last 5 years, 10 years, and you have the defending Big 12 champions. And then third, this game, BYU Kansas, but it's still an intriguing matchup. I don't know if these teams have ever played each other, but we could have a lot of points in this game. This game is going to be like, at least in the 30s, if not the 40s.
Well, I can tell you this, buddy. They have played, and Kansas has a 1-0 all-time lead.
Look at that.
1992, the Jayhawks got it done against the Cougars. Let's go. All right. Before I get to NC Nick on the clock, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, the NBA and NHL playoffs are here, and what better way to get down on some player props than over at Underdog Fantasy? Besides the NHL, NBA, and MLB games, they've already got NFL best ball, Josh, with $500,000 up for prizes. Come on, head over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by our NFL Draft Props Contest. Yes, part of SGPN's Draft Week, SGPN is holding a free NFL Draft Props Contest exclusively for our members on Discord. It's completely free to enter, and come on, the winner gets $250 in cash and $50 SGPN gift card. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord and then go to the NFL channel to sign up. Let's go. And remember, as always, to let it ride. NC Nick.
All right, I think the Sun Belt's going to carry us home here. And Colby and I might be at a game coming up. I'm not going to pick that one just yet because I want to follow up with Patty C here. Patty C popped the weekday cherry, and I'm going to choose another one. It's Thursday by itself. Georgia State at Coastal Carolina. Sun Belt, Fun Belt, baby.
Was looking at that one.
Yep. Come on, by itself. Good game. Yeah. We got really it's a huge year for Sean Elliott at Georgia State coming into his 7th year. Very disappointing 4-8 last season. New head coach at Coastal Carolina. I think it's a fun Thursday matchup.
3-3 all time. 3-3 all time now. The question is in Conway, actually, Georgia State's had their number. They're 3-0 in Conway,
and
they won.
And Coastal's 3-0 in Atlanta.
Yeah, what the hell is going on here? But yeah, last time they played there, they won 42-40. All games have been pretty close.
Georgia Southern's in Statesboro, right?
No, Georgia
this is
State.
Georgia State, though.
Oh, this
Yeah.
is Georgia State.
Yeah.
This is Georgia State. Sorry. There I go getting them confused again.
How many years has it been, Patty
Yeah.
C?
Look, one started their program. One's a historic fucking team.
I think I just
Shout out
read
to
it
Clay.
wrong.
Yeah.
I think
Georgia
State,
look, I
but-
love it. It's a weekday matchup. I want to see more weekday games, as I alluded to earlier in the episode. Go back and listen to part 1. Yeah. I mean, I think there's some other ones you can make a case, but sign me up. I like it. Patty C, what do you make of Georgia State taking out Coastal Carolina? A little Sun Belt, Fun Belt action.
I don't know what to make of Georgia State. I mean, even without Chadwell, Coastal is not really a known commodity.
They still got Big Bird.
They still got Big Bird, and I don't know. I think you can expect them to be pretty good. I don't know about Georgia State. It's compelling. Sun Belt football is fun. I think Georgia State has potential, but I think we're officially at the part of the slate where maybe it's not must see TV. But Thursday night,
Go ahead and watch your bullshit NFL game that Thursday.
Yeah. TMZ Pat making an appearance.
well, I didn't consider that. The fact that it's Thursday night, there's a 100% chance I'll be watching it. So
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
Patty C, where are you taking us?
I mean, there's a game I'm gonna probably be at, but we'll get to that one a little later.
You might not get a chance, buddy,
Why is that?
because
He
somebody
might
else
play
might
it.
take it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
See it out there. I want that pilot.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna play a game that Nick and I are both gonna talk about. We've already mentioned briefly. We don't have to dwell on it for too long, but it is an ACC matchup, and one of these teams has to go on the road and get a W if they want to stay in contention for the ACC. I'm having a hard time even trying to take this seriously. Let's go. NC State of Virginia.
Oh God.
Look, Friday night by itself, because this is going to be at like a 7:30 and the Boise San Diego State's going to be at 10:30. All right.
That's another one that ruined my childhood. Patty C likes to play all the games that ruined my childhood.
Wahoo wah, baby. Let's go.
This is not a top 30 game. This is not a top.
If
30
it wasn't
game.
Thursday night, or I'm sorry, Friday night by itself, it wouldn't be. But I think you have this game Friday. Or what else? You're going to watch this more so than you're going to watch the next game you're going to play.
No.
There is a game I should have played before this. Can I backtrack?
Nope.
Can I take this
Too late.
off the board?
Nope, too late.
All right.
You're a UVA guy. You're playing
it's
it. I
home.
will say this: the Robert and I, Brandon Armstrong revenge.
Yeah.
They didn't name Anai the head coach. They probably should have.
No, I will be watching this because I am interested in UVA football, even in bad years. You know why? Because I'm not a sellout bitch, right? And I stick with my team through thick and thin.
well, they're playing a team known as the sellout bitches,
Whoa,
and that is NC
whoa,
State.
hey.
All right. As you know, their starting safety came over from ECU. You know what I mean? What did he do? He said, I'm going to be a bitch and sell out.
Maybe it's
And-
because they
yeah.
walked into Greenville and got the W week 1 last year. I don't know.
Oh, jeez. Just
Ooh.
this
No.
absolute terrible program.
I mean, a W is a W.
Kick a field goal, fucking Mike Houston, you piece of shit. Yeah, I'm not going to say too much good about this because this
Yeah.
one makes me sleep.
Right. No, if
It's
it was on
on
a
by
Saturday, I'm
itself.
with you.
Yeah.
If it was-
Yeah.
with you. But shout out to Dustin Wees in the chat giving us some love here. And GBO Farm says Virginia could still be winless after this week. Which
I
is
think
very-
Virginia,
which is
I don't,
very
I think
true.
Virginia might not win a game this year.
You know, Tony Elliott's got some surprises up his sleeves. Sure, will they get
Darlington?
they'll get their ass kicked by UVA. I think it's the week before this, but
UVA, you mean JMU?
or JMU, the week before this. But this is the bounce back spot for the Wahoos.
Who gets fired first, Tony Elliott or Sean Elliott?
Sean Elliott, I think.
Ooh, you think they give Tony year 3?
Yeah, 'cause the whole tragedy buys you time. Buys you time.
So you're saying Sean Elliott gets fired this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yep. All right. Let me go to a real game. There's a lot that I like out there right now. I'll be honest. There's like 10 that I like out there. And
Rutgers, Michigan.
no. but I would probably rather watch that than NC State Virginia. I'm going to the game that me and Nick are making plans to go to.
Hell yeah.
Laramie, where the Appalachian State Mountaineers are going. This is uniform porn, might I add. Uniform porn here.
True.
Heading to Memorial Stadium to take on the Wyoming Cowboys and Craig Bowl. 2 winning programs going toe to toe. 2 teams that'll beat the shit out of Virginia if they played. Ask Virginia when they had Al Groh and they were recruiting, getting some nice guys. They had fucking Howie Long's son, right? They went up to Laramie and got the tar beaten out of them. All right, so give me Appalachian State at Wyoming. This is football, baby. This is college football at its finest. This should probably be the first game played.
I love it.
Don't ever refer to Al Groh's era as the glory years of UVA football.
Really?
Well, then what are?
Yeah. Didn't he win 8 or 9 games a couple of years?
How about fucking George Welsh? Fuck you both.
George Welsh. Is he a triple player?
Just because Al Groh finagled some great recruiting classes, right? He squandered Ahmad Brooks. That's all you need to know.
App State, Wyoming, Patty. So what do you make of it?
Great football, but I feel like App State's going to go in there and punch him in the mouth a little bit.
Whoa,
No?
slow down.
No, in Laramie, do you know how good Wyoming is against other conferences?
I mean, uniform
Laramie?
porn, absolute uniform porn.
I'm just saying, when other conferences normally play in Laramie, they get their ass.
Sure, I feel like Wyoming and the long trip, but I feel like
highest elevation in the FBS.
Mountaineers. You think are going to be shook on some high? Are we going to find out how much higher the Rockies are than the Appalachians?
I think it's going to be a game.
I
think it's going to be a game. Nick, I know you are. I know you have a strong feel for this one, but what do you make?
Yeah. I love it. What 2 conferences are keeping it real as far as college football goes? They haven't sold out for the almighty dollar bill. The best 2 non-major conferences, or the best 2 conferences.
Best 2. Let's just say it.
Mountain West. I love both conferences. They're the contrast. I mean, you got like more like Southeast based, more like Mountain West based.
Mountainy Westy.
Well, yeah, the Mountain West Conference, the 2 divisions previously were the Mountain and the West. No, but dude, I love this matchup, and I love the fact that we have not only this game, and we'll get to the next one, but we have 2 Sunbelt teams traveling out west this year. I haven't looked at next year. I hope they return the favor, and these 2 schools from the Mountain Time Zone come in.
I don't know about Wyoming, but certainly Utah State. And by the way, App State leads the all-time series 1-0.
Wyoming Cowboys.
Wyoming already came in 2015. They went there and lost 31-13.
That's not part of the same home and home.
I think it is, buddy.
That
because
many years apart, 8 years.
Because they were jumping up to the P5. I think that's what happened.
Wow. Okay. Well, cool. Anyway, great game. Both stadiums are freaking awesome. Both teams are cool as shit. Both uniforms are awesome. Can't wait for it.
Let's go. NC Nick, you're back on the clock.
You know where I'm going. JMU at Utah State.
You son of a gun.
Perfect. I told you, watch out. I don't want to come back to you. You can't leave this low-hanging Sunbelt fruit for me, okay? The same thing we just said about the last one. Boom.
Yeah. I mean, this should be a weekday game. Let's be honest.
Me and the JMU boys have called this the game to go to this year.
How far is Laramie from
6 hours? I got to pull it up here.
Laramie to Logan?
6 hours and 11 minutes.
Western States.
382 miles.
I was going to say we should all meet up, but apparently not.
Look, you're getting the fucking
What's
Uber.
in the middle? 3 hours away.
Yeah.
Fucking nothing.
Bum fuck.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, I don't believe these teams have ever played. They have not actually. I just checked. And
I love it.
Yeah. I like this game a lot.
They got their Mormons, but Harrisonburg is Mennonite country. You know, you think we're scared of their, righteous points of view out there? No. I don't know what the fuck I was talking about.
It's a contrast in styles too, because JMU is definitely more physical. Utah State's more, finesse, spread them out. I think JMU could walk in there and get a W here.
I think they could too. Now the altitude could play a factor.
I'll tell you what, we're going to be drinking a lot harder than they will.
Well, good luck getting your booze there. But no, Nick, they return the favor 2 years from now.
Nice.
2 years from now, Utah State comes in the Bridgeforth Connect Stadium on Saturday, September 13th.
Look, I'm bootlegging beer across the state line.
All right.
And
they haven't seen anyone like you since fucking Ted Bundy. All right?
Look, me and Jim McMahon are kindred spirits here. You know,
GB Farm said JMU will be traveling by horse and buggy. They'll leave in August.
Yeah.
Hey, the number of horse and buggy I would see driving down a fucking I-81. It's just like, get off the road. We got meth head truck drivers and horse and buggy Mennonites. That's Harrisonburg, Virginia, and then a bunch of fucking idiots from Northern Virginia getting hammered.
Oh man, please take horse and buggy. That would be the greatest thing that happened in college football in a long time. They should do that and document it. That'd be great. Oh man. All right. Yeah, this game's awesome. Guys, shouldn't this be a Thursday? Shouldn't this be a Thursday night game? I feel like this should be a Thursday night game. It's fantastic though. All right, Patty C.
All right, let's be honest. This game should have been played a long time ago. We got potential playoff team USC traveling to Arizona State in, a tough place to play. Tempe is no fucking joke. And USC,
they lost the last time they played in Tempe by 15.
Look, who's got the hotter chicks, USC or Tempe? I think USC travels around thinking they rule the roost with all the hot chicks.
Arizona State by a fucking 1,000. I think.
I don't know if it's by 1,000. USC's got its share of beautiful.
Didn't we make a case on this very show that the Playboy Mansion's in Tempe now?
Is it now?
No, like
figuratively speaking.
Yes.
I think so. I mean, look, yes, I agree with you.
I don't think there is a Playboy Mansion anymore. I don't think it's a Playboy magazine anymore.
Look, Hugh Hefner's ashes are spread
at the 50-yard line of fucking Sun Devil Stadium.
That's right.
All right, they did that. All right, and I think actually the goalpost, the goalpost on each end zone's on top of a silicon rest. Right. You know what I mean?
That's right. So, a silicon dome of.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You got an ASU by a mile, says Dustin Wiesa. Let's go.
Hey, weirdest bar we've ever walked into, Colby.
Oh my God. Oh, I have a great story about that too. Shout out to we used to play his music on the outro before the sample didn't get cleared and we started to get sued. But Joe, shout out to the rapper Joe Scott out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Right. It was hilarious because I saw him. This is like after a couple of years after we had gone to the Arizona State game. I saw him go. He was on tour opening up for a group called Little Brother, and he's on tour in Tempe, and he's like, I don't know where. I see the tweet of I'm at the weirdest fucking bar I've ever been at, right? And I just comment and I go, dude, does it have whips and change on the wall?
Swings,
right? Yeah, like, dude, we walked in this, me, Nick, a few other friends. This is like in the middle of their strip. This is not like, so we just walk into a random bar and I didn't even notice right away. It took me like until
we were heavily
drinking.
Yeah. I think we just wanted to like pop in somewhere, like piss, get a beer, like, and we picked the wrong spot.
Dude, after like I'm getting my cocktail, and I'm looking on the wall. I go, is that? It was a total fetish bar. It was like, and I was like, where the fuck are we at right now? I feel like they're about to shut the doors and say you're stuck in here. All right. But
it was all Pulp Fiction, basically. You almost got ass raped.
Patty C would have loved it.
What's that? What's that movie with all the vampires down in the desert?
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Dusk Till Dawn. That's actually the bar that it was.
Dude, even weirder, man. This one was fucking weird, man. It was. I just never been in a bar like that ever. That was in the middle of Tempe. To Dustin, aren't you a Tempe guy? Tell me you know what we're talking about, because that was.
Thankfully, like we walked in like afternoonish.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
I can only imagine if you walk in like 1 a.m. or something. So
and then we were like, let's get out of here and go to that Hooters across the street.
Look, Arizona State only 5-7 in their last 12.
Well, that's because they gave away their fucking playbook. Oh no, against USC, you mean?
Against USC, you know, it's respectable rivalry. They get them at home here. Caleb Williams can write "fuck you, fuck Arizona State" on his nails all he wants, but that doesn't mean he's going to be able to stop it.
Hey, with him painting his nails, you should go to that fetish bar.
That's right. Right at home.
I like it. Let's go, Nick. What do you make of USC at Arizona State?
Yeah, good game. It played at the right spot because it's got blow up potential. But you're right. I mean, it's a tricky little road spot. ASU has done well there against USC in the past, so maybe again.
Let me see what USC is coming off before that game, real quick. USC has a bye, so maybe a good spot.
Man, Pac-12 is doing all these favors for USC and UCLA. What the hell's going on?
Come on.
All right.
Come on.
Larry Scott's still running that thing?
Seriously. How can you not figure this out, Pac-12?
Yeah, you're supposed to shit on your teams like that are trying to leave. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's jump over to shout out to GBO Farms. He said you were already drunk by 2 p.m. Certainly. He said I can't wait for the TCE get together. Let's go, brother.
Woo.
Let's go, man.
It's in Laramie this year.
Yeah, it's in Laramie. Come out. But even if you got to do it by horse and carriage, all right, hop on with JMU. I'm conflicted here, guys. There's one I see still in the Big 12 that's interesting. There's a couple of Group of 5 games that's interesting, and then there's one I want to play just because. Let's play this one, even though I find it disgusting. All right.
Interesting.
You know who the offensive coordinator? So Jeff Brown brought the passing attack to Purdue, right?
Oh,
and now they have Graham Harrell. Graham Harrell comes from Mike Leach, right? Well, now Wisconsin, Phil Longo comes from Mike Leach. So we're seeing an air raid matchup against air raid in the Big Ten West. What the fuck is happening to college football?
Nick Dent can finally appreciate some Big Ten West football here.
I mean, I want to watch it just because I don't think I've ever seen this in the Big Ten before, ever. And that includes the Big Ten East.
Well, Purdue's been throwing the ball around.
Yes, but they have Graham Harrell. You're seeing air raid against air raid. Yeah. I cannot recall the Big Ten ever doing this.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It is disgusting. But I feel like we should watch it just because it is that disgusting. It's like 2 girls, 1 cup. It's gross. It's gross, but you're just away. Like, it's gross, but you're just like, is that really happening? You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
man,
you secretly kind of like it.
I think the B side of tonight's pod is really going off the rails.
Yeah, talk about how he went to a fetish bar and how I might like 2 girls, 1 cup. All right. Come on, this is a filthy game. I mean, but it's intriguing.
Usually, Big Ten West hater Nick would not like this game, but it has more appeal this year because we don't know what either school is going to look like, especially Wisconsin. So it deserves to be on this list, certainly.
All right, Patty. See what do you make of air raid against air raid in the Big Ten?
If nothing else, let's. Is this the first?
You need to watch this one at a fetish bar. That's what you got. This one is just disgusting.
Well, you know what's interesting about this game is being played where? Purdue. Okay, so
West Lafayette.
So they not only do they bring in a little more experience throwing the ball around at Purdue after Braum was there, but
I got Hudson Card coming in.
The home environment, maybe Purdue pulls an upset here, makes themselves once again contenders in the Big Ten West.
Sure. I mean, this game's silly. I don't know. It's just there because it's the air raid angle. NC Nick, where are you going?
I mean, usually at this point, I'm going
second to last pick, by the way.
Second last pick. Usually at this point, I'm going with like smaller schools, but I think SEC matchup, Mississippi State at South Carolina, is a pretty solid game here. It deserves to be played within the top 30. So give me that.
Dustin Wiesa says you need quality QBs to win in college football. Wisconsin wasn't getting it done with the I formation. Stetson Bennett was a walk-on, buddy. Stetson Bennett
doesn't mean he wasn't a quality quarterback.
Okay,
but at the same time, he was a junior or senior.
And when you say Wisconsin wasn't getting it done with, the quarterback play, was there a remarkable run of success not getting it done? Sure, they never got a national championship.
And going to the air raid. Yeah, exactly. Do you want to? They're going to be like Texas Tech now.
Yeah,
that's my projection is they're going to be like Texas Tech, especially when USC and UCLA come in there, because they're going to be how far down the totem pole in talent will they be in the Big Ten after next year?
Well, I just think also you have to know your recruiting base and where you're at geographically. I don't know if Wisconsin has the speed locally to recruit that Texas Tech does.
Well, and also the weather, the elements. You're throwing the ball all around. It's going to be windy and cold as shit. Right. You know what I mean? Like I just think, and I mean, Alabama also won a bunch of national championships with kind of lawn chair quarterbacks. You know what I mean? That wasn't that long ago. I understand the sport is moving, and I understand you could say for every one of the Stetson Bennett's and Alabama quarterbacks, there's Joe Burrow and Tua and all those. You know,
well, no, Alabama for a long time was definitely operating with subpar quarterbacks and winning national championships.
Yeah, that wasn't that. That was like in the past decade.
Yeah,
I mean Notre Dame was making the playoffs with fucking Ian Book. You know what I mean? So it's like I will not buy into this. And Michigan State made the fucking playoff. Chris Peterson at Washington. Who was that? Jake Browning? That guy couldn't hit shit, man. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of examples. I mean, and let's be honest, Wisconsin, once USC and UCLA join in, I would say what? We know UCLA, USC, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. So they're at least 6 down, but I actually would say Nebraska, because Nebraska's NIL collective, I think, is going to be ahead of theirs. And even Michigan State with that billionaire booster.
I think it would pay to be, the power run team zigging while the rest of the conference is essentially zagging. I guess Michigan is pretty much playing the same brand, but you know, Ohio State, USC, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, why is Michigan beating Ohio State right now? The power of football is returning because it seems like, everyone's doing the spread. I mean, I actually saw Kirby Smart talk about this, how, he believes that the line of scrimmage, has kind of been forbidden. And now that, that's his philosophy on why Georgia is going to be, or college football has essentially forgotten about that. And he's going to the ground and pound. I don't know. I heard him talk about that like the past 6 months. Yeah.
The SEC's ass.
But anyway, okay. Where are we at?
Oh, was it Will Spencer Rattler? Will Mississippi State have an attack?
Mississippi State. Talking about Purdue.
No, I know. But Mississippi State, South Carolina was the most recent pick, right?
No, did we pick that?
I did that. Yeah, that is.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Well, we're 2 hours and 16 minutes in, so
yeah. Either way, I think Beamer Magic may still be a thing here. I think South Carolina gonna get a
their fans are awesome there, so that place will be rocking.
Largely ignored this game because we're rattling off about Wisconsin Purdue, but I agree with you, Nick. Kind of a good matchup.
Thank you.
No, this is cool, and I feel like they don't play each other that often because they play that 7-game conference schedule where you play each other like once every 35 years.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I kind of like this one. Kind of similar schools to me, like mirror images from each side of the division.
Right.
Talk
about B level or maybe even C level. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Mississippi State at South Carolina, sign me up for that one. That should be a Thursday night too. All right. Patty Singh, your final pick of the draft.
Last pick here, huh? Well, there's a couple good games. I probably should go to Morgantown, but I am not. I am going with an in-state battle. I am going Army at Syracuse. I don't know why.
Wow, that game sucks.
It kind of does suck, but look, I appreciate in-state football. It sucks. What? I mean, I guess West Virginia, Texas Tech. That game kind of sucks. Even though the teams are better, they're nowhere near each other. They probably don't give a fuck about each other.
Texas Tech's contenders in the Big 10 this year. I'm sorry, the Big 12 this year. By the way, Syracuse leads this all-time series 11-10. Army with a chance to tie it up. They've been playing this one since 1899.
Yeah, give it a little love here. This is Northeast football.
My problem is it's in that filthy roller rink.
Yeah, and Army's not running the triple option. It loses a lot of its appeal based on that. I don't know. Fuck it.
Nick,
whatever.
Army, Syracuse, you're an ACC guy.
I'm not watching this, man. This is a boring ass game.
This is better than NC State, Virginia.
Well, no, it's not.
What? I'm more intrigued.
And second, it's a Saturday. It's Saturday with everything else. So no,
fair.
It's not.
That's fair. But I think if you had both at the same time, I think I'd be more. I don't know though, because it's in a dome.
Dude, all
it's so
these
boring.
games suck. All these games.
No,
suck.
there's some great games out there.
I hope Colby doesn't take my last pick because there's a very nice matchup still left. What do you got, Colby?
Please tell me what it is. Yeah, let's move on.
I will tell you if Colby doesn't take it.
Oh man, you're just gonna have it sitting out there, just for anyone to grab. Just gonna leave me with this one. Taking you to the wrench, where everyone gets twisted.
I mean,
You didn't take it.
This is a future ACC matchup.
Are we really selling Duke UNC as a fucking super watchable game here?
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
Yeah, Duke won 9 games, almost went undefeated last year.
UConn
made a bowl.
Duke UNC.
Oh, Duke UNC. Sorry,
Yeah.
Duke UConn.
Yeah. And look, this is
Those,
a future.
Modellas are talking.
Yeah, they're starting to kick.
This is a future ACC matchup. All right, because the ACC is going to try to get UConn into there for football. Or it's a future Big East matchup. Either way, all right, this is good. They're going to be playing a lot. All right, so hey, look at this. I believe Jim Moore is building something. They just got that national championship college basketball blood money. They're going to be applying a little bit of that to football. And look, I thought Moore did a great job. Buddy, UConn's more on the come up than JMU, buddy. All right.
This game sucks.
Nick, what do you make of Duke UConn?
Look, it's Duke, so I'm in. But try selling this game to somebody that isn't a Duke or UConn fan. You're probably not going to get too many bites.
I had this tied with Air Force San Jose State and the Houston game. So I'm curious if you're going there.
No, I'm not. Sam Houston versus Houston is funny because look, I mean, come on, Houston versus Houston, basically, and
yeah,
and I think I'm intrigued with Sam Houston, but no, I'm not going there. So are we fast forwarding to me? Do you want to play your music?
Yes.
So Mr. Irrelevant is Western Kentucky at Troy. You got 21 total wins from a season ago. You got one of the better teams in CUSA. You got Sunbelt. Total contrast in styles. You got one team spreading it out and airing it out as much as you can against a team that's more old school, more ground and pound. I think Western Kentucky Troy is a lot of fun.
I look, that is an underrated one. Eastern
Nice
Michigan,
play.
Jacksonville State, I thought was underrated too. But you're right. That's up there. That's
a couple
up there.
factors there.
I personally think Texas Tech, West Virginia should have got played.
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
Because I think West Virginia, I think Texas Tech is a contender to win the Big 12 this year.
Depending on where Northwestern
Who
is
isn't a contender to win the Big 12 this year?
West Virginia.
Okay.
That's probably why I didn't get drafted, right?
Don't tell Moneyline Mac that.
Memphis, Missouri, and
if it wasn't in the dome, if that was at Missouri, I would have felt a lot cooler.
Yeah.
But
Arizona, Stanford's a snooze fest. Air Force San Jose State probably should have got played.
Yeah.
Certainly. Look, I'll be watching Rutgers, Michigan, because that'll be on fucking, ESPN 1, if not fucking what?
ESPN. All right.
I won't be watching.
I mean, all right, let's get to the next segment, the FCS on FCS. All right. Patty C, you're on the clock first. Where are you going? FCS against FCS.
I mean, I feel like this is a regular play for me. I guess I'm going Montana State at Weber State.
That game's awesome.
It is.
They should be in the Mountain West.
Yeah, they both could easily be in the Mountain West.
They're not going to let them in Weber State to the Mountain West because it's in the same town as fucking Utah State.
Yeah, is there a lot that separates Utah State and Weber State as far as quality of program?
Well, Weber State beat them by 27 last year, so I would say
yeah, there is apparently. Touche. Yeah, it's a good game, and
that's probably the best one. That's probably the best
FCS
one.
playoffs implications.
Yeah, no, I love that matchup.
How far away are what are those two towns?
Bozeman to, I mean, this Western States are gigantic. It's
Yeah,
probably 34 hours. Bozeman to Logan.
I'll pull that up, but keep going.
Yeah, no, I love that matchup. That should be a weekday game. Once again, if college football got organized, you play this on a Thursday or Friday night, Wednesday night, any of those.
You're right. It's 7 hours and 30 minutes. So even though those states touch each other,
it's closer than I thought.
It's still the New York to Atlanta, essentially.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna bet it bounces over to me, FCS. FCS on FCS. There's look, I'm gonna give a little love to my guy, Dan Hawkins. All right. When I say Eastern Washington, who's a blue blood in the FCS ranks, heading to UC Davis to take on, it's the Big 12. I think it's a good matchup. Eastern Washington at UC Davis. UC Davis, come on up. Come on, these California schools got to get
Who
back
took over
in the
head coach position at UC Davis?
Dan Hawkins.
Oh, Hawkins.
Yeah.
Take over like years ago.
Yeah.
No. Who?
You're thinking of Sacramento State.
He just lost. Yeah, that's right.
This guy's getting his California schools. Nick, what do you make of Eastern Washington, UC Davis?
This was my third favorite FCS play. So it's well played. Good job. 3 stars, please.
What is your FCS on FCS game there?
What you're forgetting is 2 schools within about an hour and a half of me. How about Elon at Campbell?
I do love that matchup.
Elon went 8-4 last year. Campbell and Mike Minter is recruiting heavily, bringing in all kinds of talent to Bowie's Creek, North Carolina.
Shit, you should be there.
I probably should.
If you don't go to Laramie, you're going to, what is it called? Blues Creek?
Bowie's Creek.
Oh, Bowie's Creek. Sam Bowie's Creek.
That's right. It's good to have a backup plan. I'm either going to Wyoming or I'm driving an hour south.
All right. Well, now we get to the point of our what the fuck game of the week on like, why is this game scheduled? Why is people showing up to this, and why cameras should not be involved. Patty C.
Well, I don't get rain man cold, but they're counting down 7-6-5.
Where are you going for your
going to Ann Arbor where Rutgers will play Michigan? No, I'm just kidding. Although that game is going to be a bigger, bigger blowout than almost anything on the schedule.
There's some ones down there.
Obvious choices, but I'm going to go with Texas A&M Commerce at Old Dominion. What?
Texas A&M Commerce. Why? How did this even happen? I don't even understand how this one happened.
What a stupid game.
How did this happen? I don't even understand. Like, you just pick up a book and just like say, hey, give me the number of what's that school in Texas that just came up, and then this makes no sense.
ODU needed a win.
You got Hampton right there. You got Richmond right there. You got Norfolk State right there. You got just a slew of foot. You can play VMI, any of those schools. What the fuck is this game?
I will say this game's got multiple levels of intrigue for me at the same time.
Why? Oh, because I got
obvious reasons.
I got you. But yeah,
terrible matchup.
Nick, what do you make of Texas A&M Commerce ODU?
It doesn't make any sense at all, man. I totally agree with you guys.
Just puzzling. It's like, how the fuck did that happen? All right, it bounces over to old Pick Dundee here.
Well, I don't get rain man cold, but they're counting down 7-6-5.
Oh man, there's a lot out there that bother me, and I think the one that I mean, I'm just not very intrigued by the fact that Delaware State is heading to Miami, Ohio. You got the Hornets of Delaware State, who have been complete ass in the FCS, heading to Miami, Ohio. Once again, you got Youngstown State in your fucking state. All right. You got Austin Peay's not that far away. All right. You got Eastern Kentucky. You got a bunch of schools right here. Fuck, play Mount Union. You probably lose. All right. Delaware State. Come on.
The Hornets.
This game sucks ass.
You only think that because you're not a Hornet like Patty C and I are.
Hey-o.
This game sucks.
Patty C, want to be Hornet?
Got him.
What do you make of this one, Patty C?
Look, I'll say this. Maybe there's a little something there with the MAC playing the MEAC.
Fair.
It's a stretch.
Right, you're stretching it. I like it. Okay. Yeah, it sucks. Nick, you're on the clock.
Guys, is this the
well, I don't get rain man cold, but they're counting down 7-6-5.
I think if I remember correctly from last year, is this the inverted JFK Bowl? New Mexico at UMass?
No, it was UMass.
He's got to go down to
Texas A&M.
This is the Roswell. This is the Roswell game.
That's what happens when you're 2.5 hours in. It's getting late on the East Coast. All right. Well, this game sucks. So
New Mexico
at
heads to Amherst to take on the Minutemen in a little border battle that Patty C loves. Man, this game does suck too. Yeah, this game's terrible. Like, come on, UMass, put something on the schedule. Like,
are there two more culturally, different places in the United States than?
Does Albuquerque fly to Amherst? What do they have to do to get to Amherst, Massachusetts? I want to know. How many connectors?
75-hour trip.
Yeah, that game sucks. That's a terrible game. I mean, I'm surprised you didn't play Nichols at Tulane. That could have been one, but
I think it's even worse when there's a really bad FBS on FBS.
Yeah,
and this
fair.
is it.
You know what's lost in this though? As these are two state flagship programs. This should be like a legit fucking game.
Yeah. Get your shit together, Don Brown. At GBO Farm saying Texas A&M Commerce was D2 in 2021. Yeah. Old Dominion is the only one that knew that besides you, buddy. All right. That's our show, folks. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. I'll be back tomorrow talking more college football. But yes, make sure you check us out. Give Patty C a follow on Twitter at Patty C831. Give NC Nick a follow, NC__NICK. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD, and the College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. We also host the USFL Gambling Podcast, so go listen to that. And I also host. We also host the College Basketball Experience, where we talk college hoops year round, and the College Baseball Experience, where that season's obviously still the road to Omaha is going on. Rich Dick Gertzberger says Albuquerque, simple. You just jump on a hot air balloon at 4 a.m.
Have a cross country race, the hot air balloon versus the horse and buggy.
Shout out to Dick Gertzberger. Appreciate you tuning in, man. Folks, also remember the NFL draft special we got going on. Also, I host the XFL Gambling Podcast. I got the playoffs this weekend. We got all this shit going on. Check it out. SGPN app. You'll get access to all of our stuff. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. Come talk college football with us. Maybe you're happy about your spring game performance from whoever it is you watched. All right. I saw Bucknell. Spring game was 3-0. All right. 3-0 was the final score in the spring game.
Northeast football is back.
It is back. Folks, if you're a Bucknell fan, feel free to hop in sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. This is the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours, and we are out of here.
Spit my darts, you get ripped apart. Save the cookie cutter mother for 106 apart. Cause of your liquor, will I sip your heart? You never dumb it down, dog. If you're smart, I throw out a couple of lines.